The impression I get when I see like your food and like your Instagram posts, the term that comes to mind or the phrase that comes to mind is just the way mama makes it. You know what I mean? It's like it seems awesome. It's very traditional. It's very like rooted in culture. I always wondered, do you think like our generation is where it ends? That culture.
I think yes. Yeah. But then I see people like her, I'm like, okay, we still have a bit of hope, to be honest.
But
no, true.
Thanks,
no, for
but welcome back to Beyond the Bench, episode, what the fuck are we? 93?
I have no idea.
Since the last time we potted, like fucking 7 years ago.
We're 94, 93.
I think we are 93. I may be proven wrong throughout the course of this podcast, but I think we're 93. So welcome back. The podcast about everything and absolutely nothing. We've got wine, we've got friends, and that's all you really need. Justin had his vacation. He got it out of his system. Now he's fucking back to work. Slave labor for Mr. Pietrantonio. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe, hit the like, hit the notifications, tell all your friends and family. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, give us a 5-star review. And also tell your friends and family to listen. We've got Justin and a very special guest. Somebody who's been on the docket for quite a while.
Yeah, seriously, yeah.
I'm trying to get this done for a fucking minute.
Yeah, it was my fault last time, though.
Was it? Because the first 3 times was my fault, so
yeah.
it can't be that bad.
But the 4th time was mine.
I felt a lot better when you guys canceled. I'm like, oh, okay. Like, it's not me. They have one more on there.
I actually never, we like never cancel. It was very rare. But I had things to do for vacation.
Trip, so
you were going on vacation, so it's cool.
Yeah, it was
forgiven. We've got Priscilla Needy in the house.
Hello.
The Arancini Queen, as I've dubbed her today. Say hello to the ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, guys. Hello.
How are you feeling?
Nervous.
Yeah. I was saying to her before, we say this to everybody at the beginning. It's like for the first 5 minutes, you'll feel a bit like iffy, whatever, and then like the conversation just flows. We also have Justin, in case you wanted to know about Justin.
Yeah. If you
Tell us about yourself, friend.
I don't even know.
It's like I've been here for years.
Yeah. I've been here. I was nervous for like the first like 50 episodes, to be honest with you. And now I don't care
look,
anymore.
we've been talking for like an hour, even with we're chit-chatting, we're shooting the shit, and then as soon as the cameras get on, you're like,
yeah. You gotta block it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Shake it off. Okay.
How was vacation?
Amazing. Am I tan, by the way? A little bit?
Yeah.
A little bit.
I thought that's always his first question when he comes back. Am I tanned?
Well, fuck.
You were in Nunavut. Am I tanned?
Yeah, I was like Alaska.
Was there like a lot of sun in Vancouver? Or
yeah, a couple of days there was. I mean, it was still like 23 or 24 degrees. It wasn't like the craziest weather, but when the sun hits, like it hits. And like it rained for 2-3 days there, but like whatever.
The question is, does it hit different?
Oh, it hit different. With the wreck, it hit different, man. It hit different.
Do you feel like that because you've been to Vancouver already so many times that some of the spots just, I don't want to say like get redundant or whatever, but like that they don't have the same effect as the first time?
Like no. I mean, like some spots, yeah, like a random park and shit. Yeah, like there was a park I actually really like going to near Steve's house. It's called Dude Chilling Park actually, and there's like a beautiful view of like the city, you know. And at first it was like fucking nice because you go there, you're like, holy fuck, beautiful downtown view. But it's been like now it's like 6-7 times I go. That part, whatever, it's
You've
just
been
a park.
6-7 times
to Vancouver. Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. It's because my friend Steve lives there, so once a year we go out and we like try to go see him. But
That's
the beach, no man, that shit never gets old. Sunsets and beach and ocean, mountains.
But you thrive with that.
It's my thing, that man.
Like, is there a place that you've been like multiple times on vacation?
Yeah, for sure. Jamaica, Italy, multiple times, twice each. But totally worth it.
Are you more of a
resort?
Like resort than like an adventure style
adventure
vacation?
Style for sure. Yeah. Anytime we've been on a resort, we've always gone off. Like I know when we went to Panama, everyone was telling us like, be careful, it's dangerous, and we would go off. I wouldn't say every day because I mean the resort was still very nice, so we'd like wake up and go down, stay on the beach. But we've gone for walks even just outside of the resort for, I don't know, a couple hours and met the nicest people, most genuine people. You know what I mean?
The locals are fucking nice sometimes. It's nice to meet eat their food too. Not resort food, like their food.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I went to the Dominican a couple of years ago with friends, and it was stay on the resort constantly, and that's nice because it was a beautiful resort. The food was fantastic.
On the resort?
On the resort.
That's rare.
Yeah.
In Dominican though, it's better. It's like Cuba sucks.
Yeah.
But like it's good there.
They have it was the lifestyle resorts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've heard of them. There's there's crazy. They serve like tartars and stuff like that. So it was good. But at some point, I'm like, guys, right over the fence. Can we go get pico pollo?
Yeah.
I forgot what it's called. Like, can we please go?
Pico de gallo or
No, pica pollo. That's their dish. It's the Dominican.
Pico de gallo is the fucking.
It's the salsa. It's like a spicy salsa. Yeah.
Says the Latino guy.
Yeah, seriously. Wake
Shouldn't
up.
you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jesus
wake
Christ.
up.
Fuck that whole shit up. But that's the best part. I was talking to my boss today about this randomly because I'm going to Toronto next week for work, and we were talking about the flight, which is something that I have to tell you.
Okay.
But the best part about vacation, I find, is that aspect of it, right? It's
Yeah.
like you go somewhere and you get this opportunity to interact with so many different people who you would never ever have the opportunity to interact with,
Yeah.
and you get to see people's lives. You see the way they live, why they live that way, why they think certain ways or whatever. You know what I mean? And then all that gets translated into how they feed you.
I
Yeah,
always think that, like, when
definitely.
I go somewhere like far, like Europe, for example, not like Italy, more like
No.
Czech Republic, for example, when I went there, and
Oh,
I
that
always,
must have been.
yeah, it was beautiful. I went to Prague like a long
Yeah.
time ago. It was beautiful, but I always just analyze and just like, these people actually like fucking live here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like this is their life. They
Yeah.
walk around and they go to work and they
We're
speak that language and
also-
they eat that food.
Yeah, we're
It's-
coming from RDP,
Yeah.
so it's a bubble
Yeah.
essentially.
Like,
The-
yes and
all
no.
of East End.
Yeah, but these guys, like, just speaking a different language. Like, when I watch TV, when they're speaking Spanish, for
Mhm.
example, it's like these guys, they speak perfectly. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's their main language, but
Yeah.
it's like, I can't picture, like, it's weird. I can't do that, you know? We're just English here, and that's it.
But it's
Yeah.
because we're so used to it. Like,
Yeah.
do you think that, let's say, okay, Czech Republic, have you been?
Never,
Okay,
no.
I've never been either. So it seems like a very exotic place, right? Because we don't know it and because we've never been. So do you think that people who live there are as enamored with like the whole environment as we would be as tourists? Like they're for sure like, yeah, whatever, I just live in fucking RDP of Prague, you know? Like,
Yeah, if they come from an area that's not as rich and not as privileged and not as, you know what I mean, it's their day to day. They don't feel,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
How
it's,
many
it's,
times do we fucking say, "Oh, Montreal sucks. Montreal sucks"?
Yeah, I don't feel like Montreal sucks though. I feel
don't
like we
feel like
have a
it-
good nightlife. We
Yeah,
have
an
great
amazing city.
restaurants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
absolutely.
But we hear it
we-
so much from people that we know, our friends.
Yeah.
"Oh, Montreal sucks." Like, look at the city we live in, man. Like,
Yeah.
we don't even appreciate it that
Yeah.
much.
No, we could take a walk and like Mont Royal and I mean, it's okay. We've probably done it 1,000
That's
times,
that's
but
the
it's still
thing.
nice.
That's the
You
thing.
know?
Yeah, exactly. And that's one thing that I used to, even before I started, like, I'm not like a seasoned traveler or whatever, but before I started like traveling to
Traveling.
places and actually visiting certain places in the world, I used to always hear people, it was more prevalent like in our early 20s, I think, but people would be like, "Oh, can't wait to get out of Montreal. I hate this place." And it's
Yeah.
like, why? Like, it's such a beautiful, people from all over the world come to see us.
People are born in
Yeah.
like fucking hick towns in the States. You better count yourself
Literally.
lucky that
Yeah.
we're here, man.
RDP or
Yeah.
Wisconsin, you know what I mean? Like,
RDP all the way,
Yeah.
man. At
It's
least we're like a
just-
20-minute drive to downtown. Where the fuck are they?
It's just nice to get out of the you know, your day to day.
Yeah, but that's
You
the
know
whole
what I
point.
mean? When you
Yeah.
travel, don't tell me that you're not somebody different when you travel.
Mhm.
Like, I feel like
Yeah.
a different person
Yeah, yeah.
completely. You say yes. No doesn't even exist in your
Money doesn't even
in your-
fucking matter.
Yeah.
money
Location.
doesn't matter. You're like, bring the credit card.
Yeah.
If you don't have enough cash on you, just bring the credit card. Like,
Yeah.
it's fine. You figure it out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
my
But-
thing has always been like, what's the point of not being down? You just,
Yeah.
you spend all this time to go here. Might as well do everything
Just
that
do
you
it.
that you
There's
wanna
still
do.
limits, obviously. I mean,
I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
go knock on the door of like
Yeah.
fucking.
And I'm gonna go spend $20,000 on clubs every single night,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
thing. But like, yeah, if you want to go do activities or things like that, you
But-
do it, man.
You know, we were in California, I think 3-4 years ago.
Oh, I love California.
And yeah, fucking awesome. That too. I've been twice. And the first time I went with friends, second time with Ant, my boyfriend, and some friends as well. And it was like, there's Michelin star restaurants there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Like, fantastic.
Yeah.
I love food, obviously. That
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
would make me happy. But I'm looking at these restaurants and I'm like, it's $250 a person to come sit down, if not even more. That's like the bare, you know, like
Yeah.
the smallest package, let's say. We get to, you know, Ant was like, do you want to go? Do you want to, okay, we'll book like for tonight, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you know what? To eat, this is going to sound horrible as someone who cooks for a living, but to eat like foamy parmigiano and like, you know, like mousse on a plate, just can we have a burger instead?
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, when it comes to that, yes, there is limits. You decide where you want to spend your money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I don't
You
think
can
it's
find-
always worth it unless like it's a restaurant that you always want to try for a
Exactly.
specific dish or whatever. But to go
Yeah.
spend $500 minimum,
per person.
is that alcohol included?
Probably not.
Probably
Michelin
not.
star, probably not.
Yeah, no, definitely.
You can
not,
take
dude.
that $600 and like fucking go rent a boat for the day and go do
Well,
things like
that's
that,
the
or
thing, and-
ATVing and do crazy
Yeah.
mountain shit, go hiking.
Because he knew that it would make me happy. He's like, do you want to go? Like, we'll book it for tonight. I think it was around my birthday, so it was also like, let's go for your birthday. And I was like,
That's nice, though.
let's go to Decans instead if they had Decans in California. Because that's
They have In and Out.
Yeah.
that's my péché mignon.
They have
I
In and Out
love
burger though.
That's your guilty pleasure? That's
Yes.
your... Oh, my God.
like for Valentine's Day.
The
Don't
can's mental.
literally. We were driving. He didn't tell me where we were going. We just pulled into Decans and I looked at him and I'm like, well, I like you.
You know what's crazy about
Keeping
the
you-
cans? Like, side note, the cans is one of the only like fast food joints that's like during the holidays, like, yeah, we're closing for like a month.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck off.
They don't give a fuck.
The
those
worst.
Guys.
Give a shit, dude.
Probably
The
filthy
worst.
rich with those burgers.
Yeah.
3 weeks of my life is when Decans is closed. I'm not even kidding.
They have amazing puts in there. They can.
They
Oh
do.
my god.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you a question about the restaurant thing, but just before,
Yeah.
so what I was telling you before, okay, how much was your flight to Vancouver?
Well, my flights are different because I'm on Steve's passes.
Okay, how much would a flight to Vancouver be?
Okay, so this is what happened. I don't know what you're getting at, but we had booked.
Oh, you're gonna know.
I had helped Chanchi book a flight. So when we first booked it, I think it was around April or May. I got him an Air Canada flight for like $340, direct there, direct back, which is like impossible. You
Yeah,
get to
that's
Vancouver.
super cheap.
By the time Coppola wanted to go book it, maybe 2 months later, it was like 1,006.
And it's a 6-hour flight, right?
Holy fuck.
5.
5 hours.
So
Okay.
But the $340, sorry, is that never happens.
Mhm.
It's very, very
Yeah,
rare.
yeah.
It's usually about $800. So it's 1,006 is already crazy expensive. So that's what it was.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it was
I mean-
going up gradually from 300 to 1,006, 1,007 by the time we left.
Okay, so it puts what I'm going to say into perspective, I guess, a little bit. But I remember when we went to Vancouver last year or whenever
How
the
much
hell
did you pay that flight last year?
it's like $750, something
Okay,
like
so
that.
that's like
Aller
more
retour.
average.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's
Air
round trip.
Canada direct.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, round trip directly to Vancouver.
Yeah.
So I'm going to Toronto next week for work, so I had to book the flight with the company card. Dude, you know guess how much the flight from here
To Toronto.
to Toronto, gate to
50.
gate,
If it's anything over
$54.
1,000, I'm gonna snap.
dude, $838
To Toronto.
from here to
I'm
Toronto.
gonna get my car. I'll drive there in like 5 minutes.
Is that insane?
$800?
What in God? I was like, dude, is this fucking nuts?
At least you're not paying the flight though, but still.
And then I was bad tripping because when I do something at work and I think it might be perceived wrong or I did it wrong, I start to freak out.
Yeah.
And I overthink things.
It's like,
I'm
why am I
that
booking this flight? It's too expensive. They're
Yeah.
gonna think it's something sketch.
No, well, that or I'm like, I must have done something wrong. You know what I mean? Like, did I fucking pick like first,
like the wrong, the
first
wrong.
class asterisk fucking seating? You know what I mean? So I'm like, did I do something wrong? Whatever, dude. $800 for
That's
an
crazy.
hour, 15-minute flight,
Yeah.
gate to gate, dude.
Yeah.
That's not even just the flight.
You're like 45 minutes in the air.
Why are other flights as expensive? Like, does that mean going to Europe is a $3,000
I don't
flight?
know.
I
We
don't
should
think
actually
so.
check. We should check. But usually Montreal, Toronto is like in the 200s.
That's what I was
Yeah,
expecting.
and not
Yeah.
more than that.
Yeah.
I saw, okay, well, it's Florida, but I saw $450 going to Florida, Fort Lauderdale.
Mm.
Yeah,
So, I
it's-
mean-
that's a bit more expensive, but yeah, you'll
But
get
it still
those
makes
sometimes.
sense considering you're still doing 4 or 5 hours of flight, right? I think Florida's 4 hours.
Yeah.
3.5 to 4
Well, like I would
3.5.
imagine the longer the flight, the more
The
gas
more, exactly.
that the plane has to use, the more
Yeah.
you'd have to pay.
Not necessarily though. It's more about the demand, about the cities you're going to. It's not
Depend-
about the gas.
Anyways, that's nuts.
Yeah.
That's
It is
expensive.
nuts.
Depends how the pilot's feeling that day. He's like,
Yeah.
fuck this guy.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah,
just
but
gonna charge him extra.
Speaking of expensive, man, like whenever I travel, I always rent a car, no matter where I am. I
Yeah.
like having a car. I'm not taking any fucking bus. Not that I think it's gross or it's like anything.
No, but
like
it's just
that.
to have the
Too
freedom.
good for us regular
I'm
folk.
not that it's good for it. I want to have the convenience of like going in my car and literally driving wherever I want. If I'm at the beach, I want to go eat at this restaurant and
And
go
then
have
come
dessert
back.
here and then go here and then go there.
Yeah.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I know usually the price for cars. Usually you're looking between, I don't know, 30 to like $50 a day
Yeah.
for a car.
Unless you're getting like a SUV or
Yeah,
something.
standard
Then
car.
you're-
Standard car. These ones on vacation were $200 a day. It was $2,000 for a car for
So
10
do you
days.
think that's just Vancouver?
No, it's everywhere.
Or it was never, okay, it was
So-
never that expensive when you went like last year?
No,
or the
no,
year
it's always.
before?
I always pay about $300 when I go for a car for 10 days.
And now
Not
you paid.
2,000. I asked the guy at the counter. I'm like, "What the fuck?" When I got there, first of all,
Some guy comes up to the counter.
What the fuck?
I was like, "What the fuck?"
What the fuck about what?
And he's like, "Yeah." He's like, because of coronavirus, there was
Yeah.
a shortage of people renting cars, and they had
So
to.
they had to boost up
Yeah.
prices.
No, they had to sell all their fleet. They can't just hold vehicles because they're paying them monthly.
It's true.
They
yeah.
had to sell all their fleet, and now slowly they have to buy them back. So they're charging fucking crazy premiums because they're literally buying cars. They
I
have
w-
no
It's
choice.
so
I
crazy.
was thinking that was probably one of the reasons that the flights were like similar to what you were saying. That like there's less demand, so like
Yeah.
the price has to go higher or whatever in response. I don't know, but anyway, I was just like freaking out because I'm like, dude, 830. I called my boss this morning right away. I'm like,
Is
look,
that normal?
I'm like, if you see $838, I didn't go to a strip club. Like, I'm not trying to buy a hooker while I'm over there or something. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucking.
What if you were to book a little? It's booked now. It's done.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think if you were to book closer to the date, maybe they didn't fill up the plane yet, so it's more expensive as they get closer.
I think it's the inverse. I think the closer to the date you book, the
It gets
higher
more
the higher the
expensive.
price. I don't know. I'm not.
I think it really
Maybe.
depends. Honestly, there's so many little factors to
Yeah.
it. I was actually delayed 2 hours on my plane on the way to Vancouver, and this is the worst part. I don't know if you're a sleeper on a plane. Do you sleep?
No,
do you,
absolutely not.
I fall asleep right away.
I'm miserable on a plane.
I fall asleep and I wake up when we get there. I'm so blessed with that. Okay, so I
You gotta
ended
take
up.
pills for that, my friend.
No, I just
That's
fucking
fantastic.
put my music in and I just fucking knock out. So I fell asleep like right away when I got in, and then I wake up. It's 2 hours in, and we're still at the fucking gate.
No.
That is-
No.
I was like,
No.
no, and the flight's like 4 hours. I'm like, at this point, we could have already been halfway there.
Yeah.
Dude,
Some idiot put too much gas in the plane. They announced it. Yeah, too much gas in the plane. We have to like, you know, when they like take it out with,
Yeah.
with like a funnel,
suck it out.
have to like suck it out. Have to
Yeah.
go back to the gate.
Siphon. That's called
Siph-
siphoning.
siphoning
Yeah, yeah.
to siphon the gas.
That's horrible.
So pissed.
That is the
So pissed.
when
and
you
you
fall
slept
asleep.
2 hours. It's
Yeah.
not like you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you close your eyes, you open it.
No, I'm
We're
awake
still here.
and I'm still in Montreal.
Yeah, and you're pissed.
And I'm
Oh,
pissed.
no.
Yeah. Because
No.
you just you wake up, you're like, wow, mental. I just slept for 2 hours. That's 2 hours of my flight that I don't have to really pay attention to.
Yeah.
You look out the window, you're still on the fucking tarmac. You're like, is this fucking real life right now?
Yeah.
That is like top 3 worst feelings of all
At least
fucking
if you're
time.
like delayed, like at the gate, I'll go walk around, I'll have a coffee, I'll eat. I was
Yeah.
delayed in the plane.
That's like major. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'd have like high anxiety. I'd be like, get me out of here. I don't
Yeah.
smoke. It's not like
Yeah.
I'd be like,
Mm.
okay, I need to get off this plane to smoke. I would just feel like,
It's not even that for the smoking.
me
it's
space.
just yeah. Give me. First of all, I'm
and
on,
you're super close to
Yeah,
somebody
I'm-
that you
I'm-
probably.
I'm on standby. I'm lucky I have my friend. He gives me standby seat, so I don't pick my seat. In that
Okay,
case,
so
I
you
was in
have
the
to.
middle.
between
Oh,
two
no.
people.
Yeah, I was like this.
No. Every time I get on a plane, and I hope nobody that is ever my flight attendant in the future sees this, because as soon as I get on, I'm like, hey, I throw up. Can I? I know it's horrible, but I'm like, and Aunt watches me get up and go to
puke.
the flight attendant, right? Yeah, I'm like sorry, it's not a lie. I do get really sick, but I tell them from the beginning, I need to lie down. Do you think if,
I'm playing that card next time.
Dude,
I
honestly.
need to
man.
lie
But-
down. Do they give you 3 seats usually?
so the flight attendants are usually super sweet and they say, okay, no problem. I just warn them. It's not like they give it to me. They just say like, okay, no problem. Just so that
We'll
if they
try.
see me getting up, if they see me getting
Yeah.
up, they know that I'm going to the.
But is it
the-
true? Like, are you a puker on a plane?
I've
puker?
never puked, but I get super nauseous. That's not, it's
Okay.
not a lie.
They
And
give you
anxiety.
the bags, by the way, in like the front.
Yeah, I've never puked. I
Okay.
just need to lie down. I just warned them from the beginning where I could probably wait
Yeah.
and see if I'm actually going to be nauseous or if I'm going to manage to fall asleep
What's the
But-
percentage of them, like the time that they actually give you 3 seats?
all the time.
Like 100%?
I put on a very nice face.
Yeah, but you're a girl and shit. It's different. Imagine me going there.
I'm
Get
just-
the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Go sit
No,
down.
you
Fuck
just have to be
off.
polite
Fuck
because
off.
could you imagine how many people they deal with in
Yeah,
a flight
yeah.
that are
Yeah.
fucking rude?
Yeah.
You know?
That's the secret to most things in life, man. I've noticed.
Be nice.
Yeah, just be
Dude,
polite.
If you
Just-
just like go up to somebody like, look, excuse me, like, look, I don't want to cause a scene. Like, this is whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like 9 times out of 10 they'll be like, whatever. But if you go in there like fucking chin in the air and
Exactly.
you're just like, fuck you,
And
man.
McGregor
Smashing your
walk.
bag
Yeah,
around,
yeah,
like
yeah,
they're not
exactly.
gonna. I ask them, like, hey, do you mind? I don't say like I hyperventilate and I panic and
Yeah.
I just say, listen, I get super nauseous. I have a little bit of anxiety, and halfway through a plane ride, that's like panic central for me. I open my eyes and I'm like, oh my god, I need to lie down.
Yeah.
So having those 3 seats are,
So you're a non-windower.
I'm a 3-seater. I get everything.
Ah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. It's true.
I get the window, I get the aisle.
But if you had
I
to
get,
pick,
the
aisle.
aisle, so I can escape.
They have more leg room too. Leg room.
I
is,
like
is
the window,
essential.
man. But the window has to be on my right side, so I just fucking knock out.
Yeah.
Just knock
Yeah.
out.
I just picture the fucking
My
flight
boyfriend
attendants.
likes that. He always wants the window. Every time we manage to always get, I don't know if we're just lucky, but every plane we've been on, there's always the seat in the middle that's empty. I didn't ask for it.
Yeah,
Pure
well,
luck.
I'm
So
playing.
at
I'm playing
least-
that card next
Yeah.
time.
You
I'm
should,
gonna go.
you
I
should.
will. I'm
It's
actually gonna
not-
try.
Listen, no one takes the 3 seat. If you're not going to take it, someone else is going to take it.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
if
it.
I see a mom with a baby who needs to, for example, breastfeed or whatever, you obviously
Sorry,
offer it to
get
them.
out of here.
but
I'm fine. I get nauseous. Get lost.
I get
You
sick.
and your baby
get out
can
of
fuck
here.
right off.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
So we guys, we've got a puker in 14D, a puker in 14D. I want to ask you. So you were saying like you went to like restaurants and stuff, and you prefer like less high class or less like I guess bougie for
Yeah.
lack of a better term. Were you someone who's always like were you always into food?
Always, yes.
And then because you
For sure.
got into the business of it, you kind of were like, well, I don't need to go to the $500 places anymore. I deal with it every day and I just want something different or less expensive. Or is it like the opposite of that where it's just you've always been the person who's like, nah, I don't need the $500 meal, you know?
I'll definitely spend, I hope this answers your question. I don't know if it will. I'll definitely spend $500 on a meal. I will.
Yeah.
Just anywhere. And I always say I'm not a shopper. I'm not someone who goes out and buys like $1,000 of clothes. I could care less. But to spend that in a restaurant, I will just be like, take my money.
Yeah.
So I would have to say has always been that way. I just, to spend it on a meal that, again, I'll get crucified by people for actually saying this, but to go to a Michelin star restaurant that's going to cost $500 a person, to be starving when I leave.
Yeah.
You know what I
That's
mean?
the thing, though, to be starving when
you're
leave.
starving.
If you're gonna go there and spend $500 and be full, that's
and
fine.
it's worth it, right? Like we went to
Yeah.
Fishbone a couple of weeks ago, and it was my second time. I had gone last summer too, and the food is fantastic.
Mhm. I've been, yeah, it's really
You've
good.
been, it's good,
Yeah,
right?
It's very good.
Like we were full when we left there. It was super good, and it's that fancier type of meal. Those are
Yeah.
my favorite. Like even before starting to cook, for me,
Mhm.
going out and to eat in a restaurant was like the highlight of my week. You know, I
Yeah.
would go multiple times. Obviously now not anymore.
Mhm.
Since the last year because shit's been weird.
Yeah.
But I mean, before that, it's been like for sure.
What made you want to start like doing the cooking thing? Because we've known it like whatever
Yeah,
context, I guess. Like I've known you for a long time.
Yeah.
You're one of my original wine buddies, actually.
Cheers.
So yeah, we've known each other for a long time, and I couldn't say that I've ever really known like what path you wanted to take.
Yeah.
I just always known you were a very like open-minded person, like you were a cool person. And then I remember at one point I just started to see like slowly you were posting on Instagram that you were doing the catering thing, and I've always I don't know if I don't think you're still with her, your old partner. I don't remember.
No,
what
Mel.
Yeah, Mel, exactly.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
She's a great baker, by the way. Holy fuck.
She is. Yeah.
Oh, how do you know?
She is.
Because she was best friends with my cousin's ex-girlfriend, and I went to a party with her once, and she
Oh.
bought the most like the craziest
Yeah.
cookies
She kills
I've
it
ever
on,
had
on
in my
baking.
life. But anyways,
Talk about
Yeah.
7 degrees of separation. My
yeah,
best friends with my cousin's girlfriend.
ex-girlfriend.
That's an
too.
RDPism if I ever heard one.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't care. I know her.
Yeah, exactly.
Look out.
I know her somehow.
She makes mental fucking
But
treats.
what I was gonna say is, one of the very vivid memories I have for some reason is having gone one night to Leo's, the bar
Yeah.
next to the movie theater,
Yeah.
and I think you were there also, but she was there with you, or if not with you, there just in general.
Probably. Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and I remember saying what I thought at the time. I'm like, man, it's such a cool fucking idea what you had going on. Obviously, before everything changed with the
Yeah.
pandemic and stuff,
Yeah.
the idea of in-home cooking service, and we cook with you for you.
Yeah.
And then there's like obviously wine involved. Anytime there's wine involved, I'm fucking.
It's always a
I'm-
blast,
yeah, I'm
yeah.
into it, you know. And I always thought that was such a, I don't know, it's not the word I'm looking for, but revolutionary idea. Like it's cool, it's creative.
Yeah. We definitely killed it while we were doing it. Like pre-COVID and all of that, we were booked constantly. We were doing super well. I'm gonna throw us flowers when it comes to that because it was something that I don't think anybody else was doing.
Mhm.
You know, there was obviously actual private chefs that would go into people's houses and cook in their kitchens, but we were also doing the meal prepping. So we'd bring all the groceries, and people like that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? That their
Yeah.
fridge was full for the week. So
Yeah.
while
Well, I
we
feel
were
like,
doing it,
like
it was
like while we were in school, you did an oral on
Yeah,
that or a
with-
project. We did that.
in Linda and
And didn't you use food as your
Yeah, I did. I made
company?
a cater, and it's so
You
funny
made a
because
catering company. Yeah,
I would have
remember.
never thought that I would have. I've
Actually
always
went through
liked
with it?
Yeah, because for me it was like I love to eat. Period.
Yeah.
Do I know how to cook? Yes, I'm still learning for
Mhm.
sure. But do I know how to? Do I enjoy eating? Yes, for sure. That's where it started. So it wasn't like after high school, which I mean, I still don't understand to this day how you're 17 and you're expected to just make this life decision. Like I see people that just graduated from 10 years of doing the schooling, and they're like, yeah, I stuck to the same thing, and I'm like, holy shit. Like
Mhm.
I did it. I guess I did, but not really. When I left high school, I had 2 applications before professional sales:
Yeah.
photography and culinary.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and I didn't send them. I think I might have sent.
Culinary where, like pious styles or like?
I think it was Calix La Vallée that I had because
Okay.
Pius was full or
Yeah.
something like that. I don't remember, but I think I might have sent one, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. All I know is that I retracted my. Like I'm like I don't know what I want to do. I was 17.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know what you want to do.
You know what I mean? It's almost like I wish when we're in school they would teach us like, listen, what are you feeling? What's something that you like? What are your hobbies? You know, they would make us go down to what's the guy's name?
The guidance counselor.
Mr.
to
Mr.
prison.
Brescia.
Mr. Brescia.
Yes.
I've sat with him. I felt like it was a therapy session. I'm
Yeah.
like 16, 17
He was
years old.
great. He was great.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
He would actually guide you and tell you, like, you know, maybe this, maybe that. But really, I didn't even know. You don't know your ass from your elbow when you're
No.
16, 17, you know? Like,
You think you do though, but you look back and you don't know
think you
shit.
do. Yeah.
Yeah. We always say this on the podcast.
The
Like, you're
evolution.
17 years old, you look at someone who's like 22 and you're like, wow, you're an adult. And it's like,
Yeah.
no, you're not.
No,
22, you're
you're
still a
not.
fucking idiot. But that's gonna be us when we're like 39. When you
Yeah.
look at us at the podcast, we were 28, 29, thinking
Yeah.
we were all fucking
Yeah.
cool and shit. We're just
You
dumb.
just have to leave yourself enough space
Yeah.
to change opinion,
Yeah.
to change your mind about
Yeah.
things. You know what I mean? Like, I've always said I'm grateful. And I think we got the tail end of social media and whatever. We had
Mhm.
like MySpace
Yeah.
and whatever, but posting pictures and it coming back to haunt us, like the generation today, it's going to be very difficult for them to recover from their...
You know what the
True.
difficulty
Their
with
shit.
today is? I think this is my personal opinion. I may be proven wrong in the
Future.
vastness of time,
Yeah.
but I think that because a lot of society now revolves around this, in my opinion, wrong action of like going after people's like posts from however long ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that now because social media is so prevalent with younger people, that they run the risk so much more than we did of saying or doing something stupid that gets caught
Yeah.
on social media,
Definitely.
which can then be used later on in life by an employer, by whoever the
Yeah.
fuck deems it necessary to use it against them, you know?
Yeah, their words are going to be twisted
Yeah.
and they'll have no power over
Yeah.
it.
And like,
literally.
look, let's face it, we've all been 17, we've all been 18, 19, we've all said dumb things, and we've all done dumb
Tell
things.
me you don't see on Facebook 12 years ago,
Oh
this
my
is
God.
your status, and I'm like, holy shit.
You ever
It's
get
so
a memory on
cringe.
Facebook
It's
and
so
you're just
cringe.
like, what am I
What-
wearing?
Yeah.
What am I fucking wearing?
What was I thinking?
You know what I mean?
What was I thinking more than what I was
Yeah.
wearing?
What was I
exactly.
thinking?
Because that was the
Yeah.
style back then. Like,
Yeah.
I had my emo hair and shit.
Yeah.
It was all cool. But what did I write?
What
the
did I
fuck
write?
was that?
But that puts
Full conversations on Facebook
Full-
for the whole world to see.
yeah.
You just have to forgive yourself. Just be like,
You know,
it's okay, little person.
That's exactly what it is. And I mean, I think the same way styles and like fashion change, I think use of social media changes. So I don't think you'll ever really see like a high school kid or a kid in college having full blown like text conversations
Yeah.
on
No,
a
that's
post.
finished.
You know what I mean?
No.
That's done.
finished,
That's
yeah.
over, yeah.
But
It's
the
like
ki-
the least you say, the better.
Yeah, exactly.
better it is.
But
That's
the kids who
crazy,
are
yeah.
doing the TikToks and
The
things like that
evolution
now.
of, I guess, the
You have to be careful.
socials.
Speaking
Yeah.
of TikTok, we got shot on hard on TikTok. Did you see that?
Why?
Oh yeah. But I think I know who that was actually. He deleted the comment. Someone commented.
asshole,
yeah,
man.
someone commented on one of our TikTok or two of our TikTok videos actually.
Yeah.
Connected comments. One of them was, "Is this a paid ad or something from these guys? I'm in Calgary and I keep seeing them. This is annoying." And then
That's
they go into
because you were there, maybe. Your phone linked up with their... No?
Oh, I don't
Maybe.
know. Is that a thing?
I don't know. I think I know who
Yeah,
it is. I'll
definitely.
say it after. I think it's one of our friends trolling us.
Ah,
But-
okay.
I might be wrong. And then the second comment was, "It's really annoying. It's more the guy on the left, me. He has a really weird hairline, which I definitely do.
That's not nice.
I've got a what is this? A widow's peak? Okay,
Ah,
a widow's
whatever.
peak.
Fuck yeah,
Anyway,
man.
whatever. Honestly,
People are cruel.
Yeah.
On social
Yeah.
media, people are
Mhm.
so... I see people get torn apart and I'm just like, holy shit.
Yeah, but
This
you know
is-
what? I think the person doing that is just a fucking pussy because they're just behind
Yeah.
the screen. That's the way I see it. Anyways.
Yeah.
If you're behind the
So-
screen and you're doing that, like
his
Yeah.
it means nothing for me.
the
That
person's name was Freedom Fuck Justin. So I was just like,
I was like,
come
Wow,
like,
he went after his hair, but he went after your name. I don't know.
yeah,
crazy. It's true.
Horrible.
yeah. I didn't even think about that. It's true. I wrote back as a comment that what I like to do, if ever I answer at all, is just answer back really
Yeah.
is really satirical because I know that these people are just, it's a keyboard warrior
Yeah,
thing. You know what I
it
mean? I don't-
doesn't really bother you.
Keyboard
It's just you
warrior.
answer to.
I don't ever really take it personally, but I like to fuck around and say stupid things. My idea of humor, especially on social media, is saying
Playing into the...
is
Yeah,
playing
yeah,
into
yeah,
it
yeah,
yeah.
and saying really stupid, outlandish things because the stupider it is, in my opinion, the funnier it is because it's so out of the ordinary that anybody would ever even think to say that.
Yeah.
So anyway, all this to say that he wrote that comment and I wrote back, yeah, he's a fucking idiot. I'm like, the guy with the weird hairline is a fucking idiot. I heard he has sexual fantasies about Justin Trudeau every single night. Anyway, so all that to say, we got shat on hard.
I like the hate though. It's
I don't
nice.
mind it, man.
There's
I
really
could give a
something
fuck.
about putting yourself out there.
Yeah,
You
You're
have to be okay
opening,
with it.
yeah, you're
You have to
opening
be okay
with
yourself up to like this
yeah.
big world of anybody really, you know.
Did
yeah.
you ever get any hate in that sense for just what you were posting about, like your business? Because I feel like there's a separation between when you do something business wise versus
Oh, yeah, for sure. No, nobody ever.
nobody ever? Okay.
No,
Never.
but for hate for her, we like direct hate. Like
Mhm.
what they would DM you hate. Like that's not. That,
Yeah,
that
they
would-
would DM me if anything. They would. No one's ever commented on my. Well, one person, but it doesn't matter. That's
For like the food
it's
stuff?
not. No, well, actually, it wasn't even on my own post. It was like I commented on another post, and the
Okay.
person came to find me. But if not, it's DMs. It's direct. It's not
Yeah.
like ever. You know, it's also not after me specifically. You know what I mean? Like no one's ever come and been like, "You're a fucking idiot." Excuse me. Can I swear? I can swear.
Are you kidding me?
You're
You
just
can say whatever. You can say whatever you want.
Cock, shit, cunt, piss, fuck, dick.
Yeah.
You know, it's never been. If anything, it's in like you said, DMs
Yeah.
that they'll come and.
Mhm.
But no, it wasn't.
I don't see it happening though for the food part.
No, but you never know. Some
No.
people might be
For the
like,
COVID part, I see it happening because people
Yeah.
are, you know,
Very
have their-
divided.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. But
Yeah.
for the food, you're cooking. Like sometimes I'll like watch your stories. And I'm like, oh my god. And I'm just there. And I'll like rewatch it and you're like zooming in on like whatever the fuck
Yeah.
you're making. And I'm like, holy fuck. I'm just on my couch. I'm starving. So there's no
Thank
hate.
you.
There's
Yeah.
no hate there.
No, I don't think there's
Yeah.
hate, especially pre.
no, exactly.
You know,
I
all
don't
of
think
this. I don't.
I don't think in normal times that there would be, but like that's my point that I'm trying to make is like there's so many fucked up people in the world where it's like it's not even beyond the imagination that there
Yeah.
could be someone who's
Beyond
like
the
But I
beyond the
also
imagination.
never put any like. I mean, okay, maybe
Credence.
when we were younger, we would
Yeah.
post selfies, but I stopped posting selfies for
Mhm.
a while. It took me like all of my being to post a picture of myself, so
Yeah.
I didn't really give people something to criticize. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a lot of girls that post selfies, and whether just of their face or of
Mhm.
themselves in a bikini,
yeah.
they're opening up. It's okay, but they're opening up this like this. You're opening up a little space for people to make
attack you.
comments,
Yeah,
to
yeah,
attack
for
you.
sure,
You
for
know,
sure, for sure,
it
for
sucks
sure.
that it's like that, but it is like that.
It's the reality of the world, unfortunately.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of the times when you hear people be like, we have to curb down hate speech and people saying mean things on
Yeah.
on Instagram and
And
Twitter,
then
it's like, first of all, how? Second of all, who fucking cares? Because
Yeah.
these people would never say that to you, to your face.
never.
It's just behind the anonymity
No,
of your
they
keyboard.
would never.
You know?
They just
like,
DM the picture to their friend and be like, oh, look at whatever, whatever,
Exactly.
whatever.
and if that's the case,
They would
it's like-
never do it face to face, and they wouldn't even do it on your direct
Especially not
post.
people that you know, they won't do it directly on your
No,
post,
exactly.
right? Strangers and
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, but even at that strangers wouldn't even do it direct.
no,
Yeah.
they probably wouldn't.
I've always felt like if you're gonna put yourself out there in whatever fashion, you
You
have to
know.
be okay with the idea that
Yeah.
people are gonna get angry. And so to the point of the food, like I'm glad that no one ever did because I
Yeah,
don't think
no.
that they should. But you never know. Like some people, it's like you post a picture of like a steak or something. Are you killing cows? You know, like
No, that's
Yeah, okay, that could
has
happen,
that
I guess.
happened?
Like vegans,
Like a
have vegans
vegan
ever
attack?
like a vegan attack or something? But no, man, like I mean, I'm sure it's
No, but I can tell you that I've had people that I know very well unfollow me. They are vegan, unfollow me because
Mhm.
I posted a tomahawk or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
That hurt. I have to say that hurt. It was a close
Mhm.
friend.
okay.
I was like,
Nah.
oh fuck, like I'm sorry that it.
At least they didn't like call you out on it though.
No,
I mean, that's
they
probably
just
like
unfollowed, which is your right to unfollow.
yeah.
I
If you don't want to
encourage
see
you
like a
to-
steak on your Instagram,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, you have every right to do that. Like I don't
Yeah.
want to see it. You know.
That's what I was gonna ask. Is do you think that, like, or rather, do you take it personal if someone does unfollow you and you're
No.
aware of it?
No,
How do you know when someone unfollows you?
you don't. You
Okay.
don't. You just have to go on
Like
their
you-
profile. If you like, I've thought of someone in particular, and like someone that listen. After this whole year, I've seen people that like I
Mhm.
used to be pretty close to
Mm-hmm.
just unfollow, let's
Yeah.
say, and I understand, and I'll only because I think of them like, hey, let me send a message, and I go and I'm like, okay, like they're not.
Yeah, and
this
you
is
can-
why
and you
we
see it
don't
after,
care.
yeah,
You
yeah.
see it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like.
the interaction's not there anymore.
Yeah, especially with all of this in the past year. I also
Yeah.
I'm careful who I speak to because I know some people maybe take it badly because they're on the other
On the other, yeah.
the other side
The
of
other
the
end of it.
spectrum. Yeah.
It's one thing that I've always said. It's like I'm less now, I think, but I've always heard people be like, "Oh my god, that person unfollowed me" or whatever. It's like,
Yeah.
who
Who cares?
fuck cares?
Who cares?
Would you rather they still follow you and then
Yeah.
just DM you a bunch of shit that annoys you? Like,
Exactly.
if you don't like what I post, it's the same thing with our podcast. Like we've gotten on some occasions, like people will say like, "Oh, what you're saying is stupid," or "You guys are idiots," or whatever, which we fucking are.
Just don't listen.
Exactly.
You know, in French on Instagram it's abonné and désabonné.
Yeah.
And in English it's follow and unfollow. In
Mhm.
French it's so much clearer. You are subscribing
Yeah.
or you are unsubscribing. It's your choice to be here or not to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
To me, in
you
my
have
mind, it's
to-
like only the fullness of time will tell if what I'm saying is digestible to the public,
Yeah.
and if in the
It
fullness,
is now.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like if in the fullness of time,
What do you
Yeah,
mean
and-
by it is now? Sorry, Josh.
Like we're saying stupid things, but it works. We have viewers. We do this.
Yeah,
We
for
haven't gotten
sure.
canceled. No one really fucking hates on
That's
us.
another thing.
But now-
cancel. Like,
yeah.
why does everyone feel like they have the power to cancel people?
Mm.
Oh, it's entitlement.
Like,
that's
just-
that's another fucking
Yeah.
story.
Just
People feel
leave.
entitled. But in the future, what we're saying
Go.
right now might not even be appropriate anymore.
No,
Yeah.
like,
That's my point. Right now, it's okay. We're still like,
I was talking
we're still there.
to my dad about
Yeah.
exactly this today, about how comedy is unfortunately so dead because
Oh, it's
everyone
that
is
comedians
so
are fucked.
sensitive.
Yeah, comedians are fucked.
It's crazy. There's
Yeah.
nothing that you can say. Like, I watch movies sometimes and I'm like, oh shit, this did not age well. This is not gonna.
Yeah.
Did you ever
this
watch
is
The
not gonna-
Ringer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Oh my
You
god.
can't
I
do
don't
that
remember,
anymore.
but I watched. Yeah,
So Johnny
no, you
Knoxville, it's a bunch
Yeah.
of like handicaps,
Yeah.
and like it's
Holy
just a
shit.
No,
movie
you
about
can't.
handicapped people. It's
can't.
like
Forget it.
that would never
It
happen.
would never fucking
That
fly.
would never happen
Yeah.
anymore.
No.
So all that to say, I think like in the fullness of time, if it turns out that our however many followers we have on Instagram turns to 0, then we'll know. You know, I think like the consumer is
Yeah.
who decides, right? So
I think the majority don't really give a fuck, to be honest, though.
I think it's a lot. I've always
But
said I
do
think
you
it's a
guys
loud
get-
minority.
Do you get?
Rarely, it's happened once or twice.
It's
yeah.
happened, yeah, once or
But
twice.
again, I don't really
But
care.
they're not. They're very serious. They're like
Like
angry.
I've gotten phone calls and shit.
No way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna start saying names and
No.
stuff, but I've gotten
No,
a phone
don't-
call
don't
and
say
and
names.
then
Don't even.
the code told off. But I mean,
Look,
yeah,
at the end
I
of the-
stand my ground. I told them, if you don't like it, just don't fucking watch
Do,
it.
do you feel it plays on your emotions even a little bit when you get that? Like when it's especially a friend or someone you know? I would imagine if they're calling you, it's because it's someone you know.
It's hard.
Like
you
not
feel-
really. I mean, the phone call was pretty random. I had their number saved
Okay.
in my phone, but it was pretty fucking random. Yeah, I was like, I haven't spoken to this person in
I
so
have
long.
to say, I think it would be hard to say that it doesn't play on you on some level emotionally.
Yeah.
It depends who
Yeah.
is calling me. So that person, whatever they said, in one ear or the other, I don't give a fuck what you say because you're
Yeah.
like whatever, you know.
Obviously, you know that your intention is
Yeah.
to make people laugh and it's to
Yeah.
enjoy, to have a very free
It's
conversation.
not even. It's about the laughter, but it's more about like the realness too. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's
it's
not
a free-
not everything is a joke. This is how we actually talk. This is how we feel, and
so
like
that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
This is how you guys talk to each other. When you
Yeah.
have your friends on here, it's a very natural like.
Yeah.
exactly.
This is people coming in. You're inviting them, yes, into your space, into like a place where you guys are free and you're speaking the way you want to speak. And then they're there to just insult you and to say like you're not allowed to. And it's like, dude, you're choosing to be here.
Yeah, don't watch, man.
that doesn't affect me. Like you asked before,
It doesn't
that is-
affect. Okay.
No, it doesn't affect me because at the end of the day, I know. I mean, if I said something really, really bad, and there's times where we've said things here, I'm like, you know what? Let's probably take that out.
Let's
you know,
not keep that in.
if
yeah.
I keep it in, I know it's not the worst. And if you're gonna be insulted, you're just being a fucking baby at the end of the day.
exactly.
And that's the way I see it.
Look, at the
Yeah.
end of the day, I think we all know, yourself included, like I think we all know who we are as people, and
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with who I am as a
Yeah.
person. Do I have things to work on in life? Obviously, I think we all do.
Don't we all?
Yeah, we're good people. We
I
just
don't
say
think
stupid
anybody's
things
perfect.
sometimes.
I
That's
don't
all it
think
is.
I
Yeah.
don't think anybody's perfect.
And you
Yeah.
also don't mean harm with what you're saying. So it's not you don't even have
No,
to
no.
justify by saying I'm a good person. It's
No.
like
Yeah.
but we, especially now with I think social media and all of us having a platform, like you could be anybody. I'm nobody, and I use my platform the way I want to use my platform. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's given voices to people no matter what your opinion is. So it causes like it causes conflict
It's a stir.
without
Yeah.
yeah,
Causes
without
a stir.
knowing the person's intention. You could watch one post and not really understand where the person's coming from. They meant it with all of their heart, but you took it in a certain way. You
Yeah.
can't control how
No,
people
exactly.
And
are
I
gonna
just
receive
don't
your-
understand why people keep watching. So let's say in your case, if
Yeah.
they don't like what you say, but they keep
Oh, I've had
following
people.
you. What's the
I've
point? Even for us, the haters, they keep watching.
Yeah.
Why? Why not just
Yeah,
unfollow?
because they're curious.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
good.
don't blame them.
Yeah,
It's a
it's-
part of being human, being curious. I've
That's
had
what it
people
is.
that are not, some that yes are following and they would give me hell. I've received paragraphs. It's months since I have. And then I've had people that were not following, but they would come in just to,
peek
A
in.
You're a
DM, no
horrible
DM, no
person.
follow.
yeah, no, you're a horrible person. And I'm like, the fuck?
Even fucking follow
Why?
me. What are you talking about?
I think people derive. I think people get like pleasure out of
They do.
being against something and like
Yes.
feeling part of a cause or whatever. I think for anything
Yeah.
really.
And then screenshotting and sending it to their friends.
Yeah.
And be like, I told them this, you know?
But
like,
again, I think it's something that like you have to expect.
it comes with it.
comes with the
Exactly.
territory, exactly. I
You
want to
just-
get back onto this,
Yeah.
but I just want to ask. So just to go to what we were talking about a little bit earlier, I wanted to ask you what was the. So I was telling you I thought it was a really creative idea. Like, what was the thought process behind starting that as a company, like going to people's homes and like doing the whole like catering thing in home?
We didn't start off doing that for sure. We were doing. I was doing regular catering. My Mel was working at another. I think she was working at a restaurant at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And we just decided to start together. I had left to Italy on like an Eat, Pray, Love style. I left alone, like I'm getting the fuck out of here. And yeah, it is. What a beautiful experience. And you know what? Before I left, I'll come back to that. But before I left, everyone was like, "Are you sure you want to go to Italy alone? Don't you want to go with someone you love?" And I was like, "Sorry."
I love Italy.
I love
That's where
Italy,
I'm going.
right?
Yeah.
No, but me and Ant had split up for a little bit, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna wait for the perfect time and everyone like romanticizes everything,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I left. He didn't know that I said this. I don't think he knew anyways. And a week in, he came to surprise me in Venice.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it ended
Nice.
up being
So romantic.
yeah,
Power
it
move.
ended up
The
being
power move.
move,
Oh,
right?
fuck.
Like he got extra brownie points definitely
Oh,
until
damn.
this day.
That's a
for
whole
that.
fucking cake point, dude. That's Jesus Christ.
Holy shit.
So what were we saying before this? I'm losing my.
You went to Italy and
You went to
so,
Italy
yeah.
and you came back and you started your catering?
That's it. Okay,
Okay.
so in leaving, my
Mm.
whole point was I need to find when I get back. I need to find. It was like after professional sales, and I'm
Yeah.
like I need to find something that I'm going to really be passionate about because at that point, I mean, you're jumping from job to job. I had opened up a home daycare at one point. I think at like 21, and I lasted like a month or two. It was not what I had in mind. I did it for the wrong reasons, you know. So I'm like, okay, I need to do something that's steady. When I came back is when I started doing like tapas dinners.
Mm-hmm.
And the tapas dinners kind of like grew as we partnered up together. And obviously when you're two, you're able to take on like the workload is a lot bigger, you know?
Mhm.
So we go to clients' houses, started doing like maybe one or two, and then it just took off from there. And every client, we were winging it. Like we would leave a client's house and, hey, how much do you charge? And we'd like be carrying cases to the car and be like, how much you want to charge? Like, I don't know, $40 an hour. Like, okay, perfect. Like that just made sense for us, you
Yeah.
know? That's how that's the
And then
the
so
beginning of it.
that grew like I guess off like referrals and stuff, word of
Yeah,
mouth.
word of mouth, because even social media, it's not
Mm.
like we had maybe like
Word of
ignite-
mouth is so strong, man.
It is
So powerful. More than anything, I feel, anyways.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can't tell you how good.
You have
it
to
feels
enjoy that journey, though. I'm sure it was really, really fun. Like,
It
if you look
was
back
fun.
at that with, like, you're
It
carrying
was.
your stuff and you're talking to your partner, how much
Yeah,
it's so fun. It's probably in
would
the moment stressful, but when you look back,
oh
you're
no,
like,
we
fuck,
would
that was
have a
fun.
blast. We would
Yeah.
bring bottles of wine.
Yeah,
Anybody that would
so
come
much
and work
fun.
for us, like we were not. It was no. It was like
very
you're having
informal.
wine. Yeah, it was very
Mhm.
informal, and that was the vibe that we wanted to bring. Right,
Yeah.
like that's how we advertised ourselves. We were like, we're coming to your house. We're bringing wine. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna talk. We're gonna socialize. We loved that. So we
Mhm.
would have fun, and our drives back home were like scream singing to God knows what, like
Yeah,
Celine
it's
Dion
so high
or
energy
whatever.
for sure.
Yeah,
High
and
energy, yeah.
we genuinely loved what we were doing, you know. Then
That-
I mean everything kind of obviously with not being able to do this anymore and people not inviting you into your house, you know what I mean? It's like
fuck.
yeah, it's been that's why I mean I didn't really stop. I've only done 2 since, so it's
You do online?
I was doing online classes, yeah.
Yeah.
Online classes.
Yeah.
J'avais pas le choix. I had to pivot and I still wanted to connect with people, so that
Mhm.
was my way to, you know.
Do you think
to
that
do
that
it.
was the core of what all that was about? Is that you just like to connect with people and like
Yeah.
you use food as an outlet to connect with people?
For sure.
I think that
Yeah.
that's like one of the best ways to do that. Like I don't know if you've seen it or if you even like Bourdain, but
Yes.
I watched
Yeah.
the documentary about him the other
Did
day.
you? I
Yeah.
just heard Joe and that girl talking about it on his podcast a couple
I
weeks ago.
cried like a baby.
yeah.
I cried like a fucking baby. And I'm not even that big of a Bourdain fan. Like I like Parts Unknown, I like his series. I like who he is as a writer more so than anything else. I
Yeah.
think he's an amazing writer. And the documentary dives into that. And the whole documentary was around his life, which centered around the idea of like just meeting people and using food as an outlet to
Yeah,
connect and learning about
100%.
people and like conversating. And that's one of the main reasons I did this podcast to begin with you and with Leo, is because I love just talking about things. And like the more you talk about your ideas and the more you talk about life,
Yeah,
the
more you
better you
expand.
can understand it or hope to understand it, you know?
Yeah.
And so it was like, do you think the core of the whole thing was because you just love to
Yeah.
connect with people
Yeah,
in
for
general?
sure. And eating for me was also it's definitely a love language, if it can be a love
Mhm.
language. Definitely. It's a
win-win.
way to
It's a win-win.
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
whole style of even the way that we were serving the meals, it was center of the table tapas, right? So the idea was that everyone's, you know, talking and socializing, chit-chatting and sharing food, which is now illegal, but before it was fun and it was
Yeah.
cool, you know? So I think at the heart of it was that and
Mhm.
food.
How long were
eating.
your sessions?
The private dinners?
Yeah.
I mean, look,
Like,
you don't
walk me through the
have-
experience. Like, how would you do it? Let's say I would call you up and be like, I want to have this.
Now probably differently than we used to.
Yeah,
we
but
had,
back then.
Yeah, because we had no boundaries back then. Like
Yeah.
not just because of what's happening in the world, but I mean different as in like now I know like the time that it should take. At the beginning when we started,
Mm.
it was like
Yeah.
the clients would run us for hours. We would leave there at 2, 3, and we'd drive home another hour. Once we went up north. Fucking horrible. And Mel's car, she had a Ford, I think a Ford Escape. I don't remember, but we're driving into an. I'll never forget this. It felt like, you know, Beauty and the Beast, that
Yeah.
scene where he's going through the woods.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
like the trees and they're like starting to, it's like this creepy scene. I felt energetically like I was being closed in and we're going into this, oh my God, this like hole of in a forest. And all of a sudden we hear, I think a stick or a rock hit the transformer of her car. We ended up having to call our clients. They were friends or like old colleagues of Mel's, and they had to come pick us up. We did the dinner. Like we did not skimp out on it at all. We had to go back the day after, 2 days after, or I think Mel sent like a what's it called?
Tow truck.
A tow truck to go pick it up. But we were like at the Vermont border.
Oh shit.
Holy fuck.
So, you know, all these things that like you learn after a while, you're like, okay, don't go into scary woods. Don't stay for 6 hours at a client's house. Don't, if you're traveling that far, you know, charge.
How was the experience at least when you went in the house though? Was it worth like
it was worth it. Yeah,
okay.
It was fun.
Okay.
We saw some drunk people too, so
There
it was fun. But the experience just basically started off with like us coming in maybe an hour and a half before the other guests would get there. We'll start cooking, we'll have a glass of wine, get to know the owner of the house, our client, right? And then socialize with the people after. And I really like that.
And you're part of like the party, or you're more like
they always invited us into the party because we were not people that stayed like she was a little bit. We always joked that she didn't want to talk to anybody, so she would stay in the kitchen and not really like not socialize. That was like the Tom and Jerry, like, you know, like the characters that we played also. And I would be a little bit more like outspoken
sociable,
and go, But she definitely came into. So they always invited us into the space with them.
That's
you know
nice.
what I mean? We'd end up partying with them, and it was fun.
Did you feel like when you started that you were like very adept at cooking, or did you feel like you learned on the job, or was it something?
I learned.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I definitely learned.
You were definitely
I
already
loved-
good before though.
I don't know if you could say that, if I could say that I'm good. That sounds a little bit self-serving, but I enjoyed it.
It's good to pump yourself up. I think.
Of course.
You did
Gas that
good,
up a
kid.
little bit.
Yeah.
Let's go. You're good.
No, I
You're good.
definitely liked it, and I had, like I said, when you like to eat and you like to also cook, there's a benefit in that, right? There's like, you know, whatever. But I definitely learned a lot. Like Mel taught me a lot. She worked in restaurants and you know what I mean? Like she had shit to teach me for sure. And still learning. There's not a moment where I'm not looking something up. And that's something that it takes time to realize, especially when you're young, but it's okay to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
That was one big lesson for me. It was like, don't fucking pretend that you know everything. You know what I mean? Research, do something to you know. I
think a big part of like the tech age now with like social media and stuff and the internet is that aspect of it where it's like, because the information is available, people are expected to know them.
Yeah.
And because they are expected to know them, even if they don't know them, they'll say that I do know these things, you know?
Yeah.
But it's funny because growing up, I was always, I don't like using this term, but I was always more like the artsy kid, I guess, whatever. I like to write, you know, I like photography, I like film, I like things like that, you know? And my brother was always more the hands-on kid or the hands-on sibling.
The real man.
Yeah, he was the real man. I was the fucking pussy.
Yeah.
And so like he was my father's favorite child. He was the guy that was able to do things more with his hands, and not just like construction wise or like handyman type things, but he really enjoyed cooking, and he's always been really good at it. And
he's
so
good, your brother. He's made
very
me some
good.
mean meals.
He's very, very good.
Lucas.
And he's
like
in the other room.
Nicaraguan dishes,
anything,
or just anything
really. And I think it's because he's always been like yourself. He's always been very curious about learning new. I'm not great at cooking, so I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but learning about different spices or whatever,
or techniques or whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so he's always been really good at that. I was the kid who was very, first of all, picky with what I ate.
Oh, shit.
And I didn't really care.
You are better now, though, I think, eh?
Much better.
I think
that goes away as you get older.
Well, since I moved out, you have no choice.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to just pay McDonald's every fucking day?
And also when you travel, right? If you're someone who likes to travel, you have to taste other cultures.
Well, I mean, you can travel and just have hamburgers. I've seen people do that
can.
shit. Just eat burgers everywhere they fucking go.
Yeah, I don't know if you can find burgers in Thailand, though. Can you?
I'm sure you could.
Yeah?
Somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah,
it's going to be one McDonald's in fucking Thailand.
Doesn't make
Maybe,
these in Thailand for sure.
Probably not.
McDonald's.
Got like crazy pad thai and shit.
A McPho. Dude, imagine like a chicken nugget pho or something.
I smashed the best pho in Vancouver. Holy fuck. And the best ramen both I've ever had in my life.
You know what's fucked up? Actually, while you were gone, I had pho for the first time in fucking God knows how long, dude. I hadn't had
So
pho
good.
since like the beginning of the pandemic.
Pho good? That's what you just said.
So good.
Oh, I heard pho good.
It's pho good.
It's pho good.
It's pho.
Yeah, it's
So
pho, yeah.
It's pho good.
Yeah, it's pho
It's
good.
fucking good.
My brother's dating a Vietnamese girl, and I've still yet to actually try like one of her like homemade
Yes.
phos.
I'm coming.
What's
I'm
her
going
name?
to go with you
Yeah.
to her parents' house.
Yeah, she's been on the podcast, Hani.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's it.
Super sweet girl. She's
Okay,
the
her
best.
parent. What did you say? They're inviting you over?
No, I'm just going to go. Because I want to have
I'm
the
just gonna
Vietnamese food.
come.
I'm going to invite myself. Hey, I'm coming for supper.
She's
Thanks.
Vietnamese.
Yeah.
Yeah. She was born there actually too.
Shit.
Speaks fluently Vietnamese.
She posts crazy
Wow.
food online too.
Yeah.
Just like her
She's a
family
foodie.
dinners.
I follow her. I don't
Yeah.
see it.
Well, no, she has like a specific account
food
for.
account.
I think she has
She
a
followed
food
me
account,
from her personal account, I think.
Yeah, exactly. No, super sweet girl. Very, very nice girl. But all this to say, like, when I moved out is when I started to, I don't want to say have a curiosity for it, but have a need or a necessity to learn how to cook. And so I've opened up, or I've broadened my horizons in terms of what my palate will accept, in terms of what I'll eat and stuff.
What's stuff that you wouldn't eat usually?
Anything vegetables, like anything green. Like I really used to not like anything like
broccoli.
Peppers, for example. Okay, just like a really, that everybody likes peppers. Red peppers, orange peppers, yellow peppers.
Didn't eat that.
Never. And now I move out and I love have it just like as a snack. You know what I mean? And
that I can do. Raw peppers? No.
I love it.
No
I love
good.
it. With some hummus?
That's like acidity.
Yeah.
No, don't you get heartburn? I get heartburn.
You know what? I don't really get heartburn in my life for some reason. Maybe I think my insides are just immune to like everything. Fuck. To be honest, but
I think since I moved out too, I eat much better than I used to. So I think that plays into it.
Yeah.
But that's what I wanted to get to with all that. It was the question that I had. So you think that like you learned more so on the job, like while you were doing the visits and things like that?
Yeah, I learned plenty before with my grandmother, but definitely learned on the job.
Do you think that without like that foundation of, let's say, your grandmother or your mom, or your family, let's say, that you wouldn't have had the courage or the willingness to want to go into a...
Yeah, for sure not.
No, you don't
If
think
I
so?
didn't have a back... Like, for me, my childhood was... We had people over constantly. Like, Grand Central Station. It was, like, nonstop. It was people in and out, always having barbecues or whatever. So I've always been... It's not to sound cheesy. It's just the truth. Like, I lived with my grandparents. My grandparents lived upstairs. We lived downstairs in, like, a big bungalow, you know? So it's, like... Everything was home cooked. Everything was. So I think if I came from a background maybe where my mom didn't cook, maybe I would be less, you know.
No, it definitely affects you. It's like me cooking right now and doing what she does.
You know, unless it's
I can't cook.
Unless it's your path, you know. Unless that's really on your path and you're just given a family that doesn't really. Depends how you look at it, right?
Yeah,
depends what you believe is.
No, but in your case, it's good. Honestly, it's good to like even put yourself out there. So I'm sure you're way better now than when you first started, right?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah, of course.
If not, I'd be screwed.
Yeah, and it's you're forced to like learn, you know.
Yeah, and I didn't go to culinary school, so my biggest like.
That was like almost like your school. Is like was your work.
Yeah, 100%. For me, the biggest thing to get over was the fact that I didn't study, and I want to do this. Like I remember the first event that we ever had was a food and wine pairing. And we were one night just chilling. She had moved into her first apartment and we're sitting down on the floor. We're reading a cooking book and I'm like, we should do a food and wine pairing. And she didn't. She just looked at me. This is why we worked so well together. It was just like, fuck yeah, let's do it. Let's just fucking do it, you know? So we did a food and wine. What the hell did we know about food maybe, but wine?
Or pairing them.
Or pairing them.
No, but it's true though. Like if you know wine, you can know food, but pairing them,
you know,
it's hard.
But we understood. So there's something that you can learn about food and wine.
Yeah.
And I have a ton more to learn, but there's something that also I think is like it's your innate. You know, it comes from you. You understand it. Like we would go to restaurants and we'd probably be. You know, people would criticize us. Food critics would criticize us, but we were the food critics when we go to restaurants. We'd be like, this goes good with that, and da-da-da. You know, so we were like, you know what? Let's just do it. But the doubt that you feel, we had, I think our first event was something like 15 people. Okay, we charged them, I think, $100 a person. We came up short. We made no money. We spent money because we had to invest in plates and et cetera, you know? So we're investing all of this money. We're doing this food and wine pairing the night before. I stay up all night with the printouts of the sack of each wine.
Oh
like
my God,
and I went and do research of like, you know, where does it come from? So each dish I would be presenting the wine. Like, who am I?
You know, I fucking love that you say that because not specifically that example for me, but I'm exactly the same way because when I am stressed about something or anxious about something, it makes me prepare that much extra. Yeah. And when I don't think this is the same for everybody, but for me, when you're that stressed and you prepare that much, it makes the outcome that much better. And it forces you to learn and it forces you to do things that are out of your comfort zone, you know?
Definitely.
And so, like, if I'm doing something for work or for the podcast or something that I'm not comfortable with, I'll be stressed about it. But that stress leads me to prepare so much extra for it, whether it be exams or anything like that.
See, for me, sometimes it's the opposite. So, like, for exams and things like that, because you have to study and it's like a question and you have to get the answer, right? So that you prepare for. Or for clients, things like that. But for the podcast, sometimes if, you know, there's a question being asked, I would rather sometimes not even fucking know. Yeah. Because I don't want to stress myself out. I want to just come in here right now. Natural. Come natural, go with the flow. And I'm forced to answer on camera because now I really can't. I have no choice.
You're under pressure.
And sometimes it's better that way, just for me anyways. Better just be taken by
Well,
surprise.
look, we
every
ended
once in
up
a while.
having 2 other food and wine pairings after that, and they all
There you
sold
go.
out successfully.
There
So
you go.
we did something right, you know?
I wanted to ask you when you first started. So, for example, your daycare business, you
Yeah.
said that it just didn't feel right, right?
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
But
for
this,
sure.
I'm sure it felt right when you started.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Did you feel
Definitely.
like this is it?
This is
what I'm.
Yeah. Well, look at the 2 applications that I had to submit,
Yeah.
and I never did. Right? It's photography, and right now my Instagram like is all, it's all my pictures with my phone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's the mix of food that tastes
Different interests.
Yeah, and
They go
it
hand in
came
hand, though.
together.
Yeah.
They go hand in hand, photography.
They
and
do,
food.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
it. So I mean, like I could easily be paying somebody to do them, but because I had some kind of passion for it, I went for it. But
Nothing better than a nice fucking full HD picture of food.
you know,
Something crazy. Though.
you know, there's a reason you're hungry at night when you're looking at my posts. It's because it's
Sometimes
like
I
a
have to
nice-
not even look at you. I'm just there on my
I've
couch. I'm
heard
like, I
that.
have to just stop.
That can play 2 ways
it's
on
enough.
my part. That's like either people.
That's why I'm gonna unfollow you, fuck. I don't
Yeah.
even I don't like you. It's because I can't even look at your fucking food anymore. Jesus,
Well, then don't let the door hit you on the way out.
it's too much.
It's funny how life works that way, where like your interests can combine to create something beautiful.
Yeah.
When I was younger, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but when I was younger, my dream was to be a director. My idol was Steven Spielberg,
And look at you now.
and I grew
My
up.
directs podcasts.
Yeah,
for a
exactly.
living.
It's crazy.
I direct my own my
And
own
no matter-
semi-successful podcast.
No matter how many times you you changed, maybe, I don't know, you studied something, you're working for the company you're working for.
Yeah.
Look what you're doing on the side. And sometimes something that you're passionate about has to just remain a hobby, and that's okay.
Do you think that the impression I get when I see like your food and like your Instagram posts about your business and your food, the term that comes to mind or the phrase that comes to mind is just the way mama makes it. You know what I mean? It's like it seems
awesome.
it's very traditional. It's very
Yeah.
like rooted in culture, in the Italian culture that we're
Yeah.
obviously all like. You're full Italian, I would imagine,
Yeah.
right? You're
Yeah.
half, right, and I'm half.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's rooted in that Italian culture. And so sometimes I look at it, and this stems from this weekend. My brother and my family did the tomato sauce. I can't do it because I gag because the fucking texture
Why?
is. I'm bad with textures.
Oh,
so when
I
it
love
comes
that.
to
Just squish it with your
yeah,
hands.
I gag.
I
I
love
get
it.
freaked out. So I was.
But it's a ripe tomato.
yeah,
it's
but
not
then
mushy.
but when you
Oh,
grind
you
it, right? Yeah, I've always been like that. I'm strange. I'm weird like that. But it bugs me now as an older man that I haven't ever done it in the past because I can. It's never too late to learn anything. But if I don't ever try to learn it,
Yeah.
that tradition gets lost.
It gets lost.
And so my question is like, do you think that because you're so entrenched in this idea of traditional cooking and that those traditional values that come with your cooking, whether
Yeah.
consciously or subconsciously, I always wonder, do you think like our generation is where it ends? That culture of like the tomato sauce or like
I think yes, but then I
Yeah.
see people like her. I'm like, okay, we still have a bit of hope, to be honest.
But
No, truth
thanks,
though.
Jess.
No, for real.
But I agree. I
Yeah.
feel like, and that's the whole goal of it, and you got the essence of it. So I'm
Mm.
super happy you understand that that's what I was trying to put. And I think when we do something that's really, that we're, not to be cheesy, but actually passionate about,
Yeah.
the little bit of magic actually gets like infused into it
Yeah.
with whatever it is, even if
Yeah.
it's just with speaking with someone about your business, you know? I mean, does it end with our generation? Probably, because how many people do you know actually speak Italian? That come from it. You know what I mean? Italian was my first language. I spoke it with my grandmother every day.
Mm-hmm.
Probably even my parents. I don't really remember, but that was the first language. Do I speak it as properly as I did before? No. We also speak a different kind of Italian here.
Yeah.
Like my grandmother says napikini, which is a napkin.
Napkin.
You know what I mean? Like
My mom, my grandmother's sister, would watch The Price is Right, and
Why
would be
does
like,
every grandmother watch that? I
Always.
used to
'Cause
rip
I
it up
think-
at my grandmother's
I
house.
think there
by the
was
way.
like 6 channels on
Playing
the
it, yeah.
cable, so they
I
would.
fucking love that show.
They
so
would
the old host's name was Bob Barker.
Yeah.
And she'd go, what's his name? Barbecue?
Yeah.
I
But-
think they may have not lost their Italian. Like, I mean, put me in Italy and I'm within a couple of days I'm speaking the way that they do. And Italians from Italy sing when they speak.
Mhm.
It's rhythm when they're speaking. Here it's a different, some of our grandparents stuck to dialect, some of them,
It's like
it's half French.
It's a diaspora. He's looking at me like he wants to fucking punch me in the face. It's a diaspora version of the
You
of
can't
the
even
language.
spell that word, bro.
Diaspora.
If you can't spell the words, you can't use them.
I'm
That's my rule. Stop it. Stop.
Diaspora. It's the dispersion of the people beyond their land.
How'd you use it?
It's
What
like
did you say?
a diaspora version of the language. So
Yes.
like it includes.
We understood.
Yeah, it
Now we
includes like
understand.
Canadianisms plus their dialect plus the original
Plus-
language.
Yeah, plus
So,
the French
yeah.
that's just seeping through.
But I always wonder that, like, I don't know.
It might end with us if we don't, and that's the whole premise of the preserving the
Mhm.
Italian tradition, right? It's that.
What do you think is the way to like? I know you're saying like part of what you're doing or whatever. Do you
Yeah.
think there's a way to preserve that, whether it be from our parents or like from ourselves? Like, what's the good way to try and preserve those cultures for our kids, if ever we have them? You know.
I mean,
Speak to your grandparents in Italian if you can. If
Speak
they're still
to your
alive for the most part.
yeah.
Try to make an effort. Stay with your mom. Stay with your dad. Stay with your grandparents. Cook with them. Learn with
Speak
them.
to your kids in Italian. I mean, when
Yeah,
you
of
do
course.
have kids,
And then when you have kids, then you pass that on. But
Yeah.
I don't think it's ever really too late. I mean,
No, I don't think so.
it's not. It's just, I mean, maybe not our generation, but the generation after.
Yeah.
They're I don't see any of them. They're very involved in
we're
their
a lot
social
more
medias
like
and
diverse now. Like it's no more like Italian marries Italian and things like that.
No,
like
no.
it's
Yeah.
so
I think that's
diverse.
for the
But that's
better.
okay.
I think it's for the
Yeah.
better.
Yeah, that's okay. It's you're exploring different cultures and whatever. But even
Mhm.
for you, like, I mean, do you speak Spanish?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I speak it as fluently as I do French, let's say,
Yeah,
or English,
yeah.
but like I can hold a conversation and I can understand what you're saying.
C'est
Yeah.
ça. So I mean,
C'est ça.
you're gonna be able to.
Yeah, like my Italian sucked, but my French
Did you
is
just make
perfect.
fun of my? C'est ça.
C'est ça.
It's not fucking nice.
No, I love it. I love the French language. I know it's not like popular opinion, but I like it a lot. I love
Yeah,
speaking
I like
French.
Listen, it's to me, it's such an advantage that we have that people
All of
take
these
for granted.
languages.
Yeah.
If you think about French, it doesn't ever cross your mind as being a foreign language, but it is.
Yeah, it's European.
And if you
Yeah,
go
it is.
somewhere else, we were talking about traveling earlier. I went with Toste a couple of years ago, and we did a couple of countries in 3 weeks. And I think we did 6 countries. And of the 6 countries we went to, 5 of those countries, we were able to understand and speak to people who were there because
And how
they could
amazing
speak
is
English, they
that?
could speak French, they could speak Italian, they could speak Spanish. You know,
yeah.
so it was cool.
Yeah, in the UK you're good too. It's English. Well, obviously with different
Yeah.
accents, but
Fucking hell.
yeah, you're good.
Fucking
And
hell.
it still kind of
But
makes sense.
it's a blessing to be able to
Yeah.
speak all of these languages and
Yeah, it
not
is.
have been, sheltered. Our grandparents came here, don't forget, off of a boat
Mm-hmm.
and had no choice but to learn the language. And they were being, I don't know if everyone could say this about their grandparents, but being taken advantage of left
sure,
and right
for sure.
by the local, you know what I mean? Like,
For sure.
the-
I wouldn't be surprised. I think that's just, unfortunately, I think it's human nature.
yeah.
It's fucked. And one thing I've noticed too, speaking about like the whole tradition thing and it like being brought forward, I've noticed that in the last maybe like 10, 15 years, our generation more specifically, I notice a lot more. And this isn't to say that women belong in the kitchen. This is not what I'm saying, okay?
No, but it's
I-
a good place
This is not a
for-
good
for
start,
us
Josh.
to-
It's not a good start.
I'm not saying that I hate women. I've noticed a lot more that
Don't
in our
cancel
generation,
Josh, please.
in the past, usually you'd see like women who are more involved in like, let's say, cooking, who are better at it, let's say, or are more
Yeah.
adept at that aspect of like the house holding.
Yeah.
And in our generation, I feel like you see a lot more guys who are interested in, I might be wrong, but who are more interested
definitely,
in
I
like
see it.
cooking
I see it.
in that aspect of what
Yeah.
traditionally, quote unquote,
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
taken care of by the
So
female
we're
in the
also
past.
not sticking super closely to the you have to get married before you leave the house, right? So
Yeah.
you left the house and you now have to fend for yourself.
That's a good point.
Whereas
I
if
never
you
thought of that.
had,
That's
right,
true.
before we had
That's
men
true.
and women got married in order to leave the house and then the women were taking care of
Yeah.
everything. Now it's a different,
Mhm.
I can
I
see
don't know.
that though. Like I lived obviously with my mom for like how old am I? 29, 28 years,
yeah.
and like I never fucking cooked, and like now I have to go home
Mhm.
and I have no
and
choice.
you have to, yeah.
I honestly kind of regret it. I should have learned back then, to be honest with you, because now I just make the basics. I'm still learning
Mhm.
as
yeah,
I
but
go.
it's not too late.
I'll talk to my mom like, hey, what should I
For
do? Should I put
sure.
this? Should I put that? Yeah,
I
do
think
this,
they
do that.
love
Yeah.
that though. I
They
think
do, they do.
I think they love
They
that.
do.
Yeah, I call my mom at the pharmacy and I'm like, Mom, what's a good price for fabric softener? And I do this every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To this point, I'm just like on Amazon downloading it, like adding.
What age did you move out?
4 or 5 years ago, 23,
Oh, wow.
That's good.
24, I think.
Yeah. Okay. I moved out at
Yeah.
27.
Yeah.
It's funny because I don't know if you have the same experience, but when I moved out, I feel like from the moment that I moved out, literally the day,
Yeah.
I would say, I had such a better relationship with my parents
Yeah.
than I did when I was living at home, and it's normal. I
Because
think
you miss them and they miss you. You're not
Yeah.
always in their face.
Yeah.
but you understand them more too.
You
I think,
do.
and to the point of like, Mom, what's the best like fabric softener? You understand now like
You
why they would say stop using so much fucking
Stop
fabric
using
softener.
so much. Yeah.
Because it's so expensive.
Or like my mom would be like, clean the bottom of the sink, the
Yeah.
net in the sink, you know. And I used to always leave it with food.
That's so gross, though.
It's gross.
That's
Today I
so
look at it.
gross.
I look at Ant and I'm like, babe, could you just clean? I don't even ask anymore because I feel like it's not
Making
like,
your bed, even things like that. Just making
I
your bed,
make
keeping the house clean.
I used to tell my mom, no one's going in my room. Like that was the lot. Like I'm
Yeah.
like, no one's going in my room.
You're
Who
still right,
cares?
though.
Right? I'm sleeping in it later.
Oh,
Today I wake up as soon as he gets out of bed. I'm like
Yeah.
making
Oh,
the
man.
bed.
Yeah.
Something
what
to-
it's a crazy mind. It's a crazy mental shift.
we become
It's
our
just,
parents.
Yeah, we do become our parents, but I get it. And plus, and that's just for the most part. You have a boyfriend. We live alone, so that's just cleaning up after ourselves.
If
Yeah.
I live with
Our
somebody, I would
parents
kill
cleaned up
them.
after their fucking kids, which was us.
Kids, yeah.
So there's themselves and their dirty, disgusting kids walking with their feet all muddy and leaving dishes everywhere,
Yeah.
crumbs everywhere.
And then you
Oh my
have to
God.
also raise these little people
Yeah.
and try to get them to like I don't know. I think of how many times my mom repeated things, and I
Yeah.
feel so bad
Yeah, I
today.
feel so bad.
Today I'm like, man, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry that I made you repeat yourself.
I called my mom 2 weeks after I moved out and I said, Mom, I'm so sorry. She said, for what? I'm like, everything.
Yeah.
Every fucking thing.
So sorry.
I am going to be my mother.
Yeah.
If ever I have kids, the
Yeah.
poor soul who decides to have those kids with me, if ever I have kids, I'm going to be my mom so bad. I can already see it.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing.
I
It's
think
not
it's
a
a,
bad
I,
thing,
I think it's
yeah.
I think it's a good
Mom,
thing, man.
I love you, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing. I mean, I think sometimes our parents were a bit intense there, but it's probably just the stress.
Yeah. I don't think we were bad kids either.
I think we all had aspects of the worst. I don't think we were fully the worst. I think
Yeah.
we're all smart people. I don't really think that anybody, for the most part, who I grew up with, it turned out to be a horrible person. There's the
Yeah.
odd person here and there, but like,
Yeah, but misguided.
yeah,
You know,
definitely.
it's
Look,
not.
it's going to happen in life, right?
Yeah.
But I think we're lucky to have grown up in a generation or a time where, one, we had parents who were there
Yeah.
for us, whether they were together or divorced.
Or
You know,
divorced,
they
exactly.
they cared about us and they wanted the best for us. And I think that sometimes, as with any parent, maybe the way you try to enforce that might be misguided.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I am a firm believer of the idea that had it not been for the way my parents treated me and the way my parents raised me,
Yeah.
I wouldn't be the person who I am today.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
while I still have work to do in myself, I think for the most part, I think I'm a decent person. Let me know in the comments.
Right? Good job, Mom.
Yeah,
I have a horrible hairline, but I mean,
At least you have a
It's not
hairline,
your
though.
fault.
Look at the positive. At least you have hair.
You know,
Yeah.
at least you have hair.
You know, some don't even have hair. Maybe that guy's balding. Who knows? Could be
just-
miserable.
he's just like projecting
He's
onto
just
everybody.
projecting on everyone that has hair. He's
Usually what it is.
Full on jealousy.
Yeah. I don't know if to answer your question, I don't know if the tradition totally or the traditions completely die with us. I just know that if we don't make the effort
Mhm.
to do
It
it, they
depends
will.
how you define tradition. Maybe in the food part of it, yeah. But in terms of like
But even in
celebrations
seeing-
and gatherings and
yeah.
getting together, that's not gonna die.
No?
No, I don't think so. I fucking love my cousins.
hope not.
I love, like we're gonna love like
Yeah.
you know, spending time with my sister, her husband, her kids, my kids, if ever, and like doing all that. Like it's gonna be
But the
amazing.
the language too.
Yeah, but the language doesn't really matter. I mean, listen, we live
You
in
don't
Canada.
think? I think if we lose Italian, we are totally.
I would
fucked.
hope that we keep the language.
I don't think
understand your-
I don't think it really like
I
matters
understand, yeah.
that much. I get your point, but I don't think that's what makes
Mhm.
like a family is by speaking Italian or not. You know what I mean?
I understand your point. Like
Yeah.
I think in the grand scheme of things, as long as you have your family and the love therein,
Definitely, yeah.
doesn't
Sure.
it doesn't matter. But I understand your point too, where like I think it's good to keep that language, you know. And so if ever I have kids, I told my parents, I'm like, my dad, you're speaking to him in Spanish.
Yeah,
my mom, you're speaking to him in Italian. You know?
exactly.
So
yeah, my
It's
mom in
just-
French, my dad in Italian.
It's just a richness that comes for
yeah,
free.
exactly.
You know what I mean? That
Yeah,
we should be able
yeah.
to pass on. Like
Yeah.
my grandmother, my mom's mom, she's Sicilian, and in every interaction, she says some kind of
Mhm.
old saying.
Yeah.
Like I have to record her because I'm like I've tried writing them down and I can't keep up. And it's those moments where you see, you know, it's a form of expression for them
Yeah.
that
Mhm.
comes out. That if we lose that, we travel to Italy out of pure blessing.
Yeah.
Because we have that here. There's people who are not able to touch their roots the way we're able to. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So I think in the language comes that
What if your kid marries like a Greek or something?
it would be fantastic. They would
But that's what
learn
I'm
two
saying.
languages.
Yeah, but I'm saying in time, eventually, like I mean, unless
Yeah.
everyone, your kids, and it's always Italians going all the way down, it's not gonna
No,
happen.
but a mix of two is perfect.
Yeah, of course,
I mean, you
of
learn
course.
two languages, you bring them down.
I always laugh. My brother and his girlfriend, if ever they have kids, man, that's gonna be a fucking quarter Italian, quarter Nicaraguan, half Vietnamese baby. Imagine that.
That's nice.
That
You
would
would-
be
you
a,
can-
a pretty baby.
Yeah, you would never be able to say that 70, 80 years ago. That would be a-
70,
No,
80
it was
years
not
ago.
accepted.
Back in
Yeah.
1930, no
yeah,
way.
that'd
You
be
see
a
how
weird thing to
things
say.
used to be like frowned upon that
Mhm.
are now
Yeah.
we're a lot more open to
Yeah.
to having a lot more
Yeah.
open to everything really. these
Einstein
days,
used to
but
like hate Asians. He used to be the biggest racist against Asians. I swear to God.
How do you know? How do you know this?
It's a fact. You can Google it if you want. Swear to God.
I'd love to know
The
Can you
smartest
fact
man
check?
in the world used to be racist against Asians.
Can you
where
fact
did
check that, please?
where did you
I
see
don't know,
this?
somewhere online.
Einstein's travel diaries reveal shocking xenophobia.
No.
Xenophobia. What is that?
I have no idea. I just know it's one of those other phobias that apparently everybody has because we're white.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Just to say, you know what I mean?
That's I did not know that. I don't know
It's
how
one
you
of-
do that, but I mean,
I can know things.
Asians are cool. I guess they made like Pokemon
Why-
and shit.
They made Pokemon and shit. Yeah, fuck yeah. Yu-Gi-Oh.
And fuck.
And pho.
And pho. There's
Pho.
no way I can handle them after that.
I mean,
Yeah, Koreans have the best food. Vietnamese have the
I always
best
wanted
food.
to go
Yeah,
to
they do.
China and like Japan and stuff.
Yeah.
I know that's like the mainstream like places to go
Yeah,
to. in
China and
terms of
Japan
Asia.
are
Asia.
not the same though.
No, I know, but I'm saying like it's just Asian countries. It's cool. The culture. I love just like culture shock. It's such
Yeah.
a different. It's such a different place. I have friends who've been to Japan, and they come back and they're like, it's just a different world.
Yeah,
man.
it's different
Yeah.
world.
I think that's so cool.
Especially down there.
it's
Mhm.
traveling is literally like going
Yeah.
in different portals and just
Absolutely.
Yeah.
what is
Absolutely.
happening
That's what we were in
here, you
Japan,
know?
fuck.
Absolutely.
That's
I wanted to ask you. So we were talking about your business before. So what would be the biggest change that you saw between pre and post pandemic and all this stuff? Aside from like going into people's houses, like how did you shift and try to continue making money? Because it is your livelihood, right? After all.
The pandemic, although it was shit for some people, it was a blessing for me. I
Mm.
was able to focus on just, which is what I'm doing now, arancinis. I like totally narrowed down what
Mm.
I'm doing, and I'm busy with it, you know. So I mean, I think the biggest shift is just narrowing down even for myself and not trying to do 10 different things. You know what I mean? You're
I
not
think that's
always
important
Yeah.
for business. You gotta focus on what you do
You
best.
have to focus
and-
on one,
yeah.
not
Wh-
one, but even maybe two. You
Yeah,
know?
a couple of things.
Couple
I think that
things
you feel most comfortable with what you do the best,
Yeah.
because then you could just focus on that and just drive your sales just for that.
Mm.
That also
Yeah.
all over the place, you know.
Yeah, and I was all over the place,
Oh,
and
there
there
you
was
go.
no focus. I
Yeah.
never felt really like
Mm.
truly fulfilled. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When you're, you're in it. You're in the vibe. But there's moments where you like tune out, and you have to really like refocus especially when it's your business and your business only. Like there's
Mhm.
you don't have when you're working for someone, you're doing a job. It's like the same, you know what
Yeah,
I mean? When
yeah.
it's your business, you have to constantly,
Yeah. You're on the clock 24/7.
you're on the clock.
Yeah,
you're
you don't
never
go
really,
home and just at 5 o'clock
Yeah.
and you don't just clock out and
you're
and
never
chill.
really off, you
No,
know? It
you're
was
never
getting to
really
a
off,
point
no.
where even just being with clients like face to face, because now obviously I'm doing a lot of takeout. The arancinis are like once to twice a week,
Mhm.
takeout style.
Nice.
I have to connect with people online, speak to them, then email, then text or whatever. And then I see them face to face, and I get there and I'm like drained completely because I have no, like, your mind is always working.
Yeah.
You never really get to sleep, you know? So biggest shift would have probably been that, being able to refocus. It was a blessing for me.
That's good.
Yeah.
I would have thought that it would have been something much more difficult to navigate, to be honest.
It was shit at the beginning.
Mm.
I had like an entire week probably where I was like panicking of like, what am I gonna do?
Like, do you deliver, or is it people that
I
just
do.
solely come and pick up?
I do deliver. I offer
You
it
ship
like
it via
once every.
FedEx, you're at
No, I don't.
Could you imagine?
No, I don't. That's the next thing to manifest is shipping to like Ontario and stuff like that.
That'd be
But
awesome.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
now you have to do it like, guess what, frozen? You can't just ship you have to do
frozen
them
and
frozen.
yeah, like vacuum packed.
Yeah,
And send it to
okay.
them for them to cook
Yeah.
themselves.
Because you do meal plans too, right? Because you don't only
Yeah.
do the arancinis. Because I see you do other different, like, kind of, I guess, for lack of a better term, Tupperware style meals.
Exactly. So it was like an elevated meal prep type thing. I never
Okay.
wanted to do like the boiled chicken and rice type thing, so I did like an elevated meal
Like my
prep.
diet.
And red
Boring,
peppers.
fucking disgusting diet. Your meal
Yeah.
prep's actually look really good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It took a lot of energy, I could tell you that much. Like it was my Mondays prepping for
Mhm.
150 meal preps by myself. I would do a 14-hour day by the end of the day, and that's another thing. I was drained for the
Sure.
week. So you have to know where to put your energy
Yeah.
too.
Is there any day of the week that you actually have off? Because from what I can see, and I'm pretty sure people who follow you on Instagram can attest to the same thing, it looks like you're just 24/7 on that shit.
It's the truth.
Yeah.
I started taking Sundays
Okay.
Off.
Sundays off. I need it. I
If
need
God rested, so could you.
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah.
yeah,
You have to go
Sundays-
in. For me, you have to go in, whether it's work, school, gym. You have to go in on a Monday and you have to rip it on the Monday.
Yeah.
If you have a shit Monday
Yeah.
or a lazy Monday, I feel for me anyways, your whole week is fucked.
So my solution to that was I started taking Mondays off. Now since I restarted the meal preps, I'm now working on Mondays. But my Mondays were reserved for a massage. It's gonna sound bougie as hell, but a massage in the morning, and then I would spend the rest of the day just like it's my no commitment day.
That's your day off though.
That's my
Okay,
yeah. So
yeah.
it was like my Sunday and Monday.
Yeah.
Let's say
Like your
really.
Monday would be your Tuesday.
Yeah,
for
when people
example.
are
Yeah.
like, you're just like what you said, Monday has to be like, it has to be a supercharged day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, my Monday is I wake up
That drives your week. That.
and I'm on my feet constantly. So that
Yeah.
massage, like I said before, I'm not a person that buys expensive clothes. I'm like, who cares? You know what I mean? So that's my treat in the week. I get a
Massages
massage
and restaurants.
and
Okay,
restaurants
okay. Not too
and
bad.
eating takeout, So it's a day where I don't do, there's no commitments.
But it's funny because one thing I've always thought about you as a person is that you're a person of very simple interests. You know what I mean? Like I don't ever look at you as
Definitely.
like the high
maintenance.
the highfalutin person, like the
Yeah.
what's
High
the
what?
highfalutin, but it's not the word I'm looking for. It's like high
Don't
maintenance.
ask me, fuck.
High maintenance. I never look at you as like the high maintenance girl or girlfriend. If
I don't
everybody would
think
be dating
I-
you. So I like that in people. I don't ever really get drawn to like high maintenance style
No.
Yeah.
people.
No.
Look, if you want to be like that,
We're
be
also
it.
very simple people, me and you. I feel like our group of
Yeah.
friends, we're all very simple.
Yeah, you guys are.
Yeah.
We're just a couple of
Yeah.
hicks doing a podcast for all you fine folk on YouTube.
Yeah.
It's the simple pleasures,
Yeah, exactly.
It is.
Yeah.
I'd be just before we get into the questions after, I want to do a little.
Yeah.
I'd be remiss if I didn't.
Do you
like
write
five.
down the words?
It's the answer at 5 already.
if I didn't talk about this. But I want. So we're talking about your business and the way you post it on Instagram and the way you market it and stuff. What was the idea behind? We're not getting too political and stuff, obviously. But what was the idea behind the shift from, or I don't want to say the shift, but the decision to use the business platform as a platform to like speak out against like certain things that you're against. Like what was like why? And I'm not judging obviously, but why not use like a separate platform?
Yeah.
Or was there ever a thought process of like, should I use this specific platform? You know what I mean? Like what was the decision making process with that?
I've always, this is not something that someone in marketing would recommend or applaud me on. It's definitely not a good move business wise, but I think first of all the account that I'm using at Salinity is my personal account. It turned business when I ended up having to work alone really, and this is my business and I just turned it into that. I use that platform. The way I saw it is, and at the beginning I wasn't advocating for anything wild. I just wanted to touch on it lightly. It was lockdowns and suicides. That's where I started. That's probably where I got the most slack for, was talking about how it's horrific what's happening to society in all of these lockdowns. So it came from a place that was like, this is very much who I am. This is how I see this, but it wasn't meant to anger anybody. It was kind of like, well, I show you guys who I am here and there, and guys, I think this is crazy, so it came from a good place, and then it just evolved and took off into like, obviously the world is pretty crazy, so I kind of like, I went with it, and then there was such a good response to it, because where I would receive one message of someone who's like super angry and like, I've been told you're stupid, and then there's other people that have said like, you shouldn't be using your business platform, this is so unprofessional, and I understand that. But for me, where it came from, it was, first of all, good intention, which no one is like congratulated for now. No one sees the intention behind anything. And I mean, it was, my business is intertwined with what's happening in the world. Yeah. No one understood that. Today, I hope they understand. Look at what businesses are being asked to do. I technically have to ask for passports. Lightly gliding over this conversation. I don't want to get into it, but really, like it's crazy. And everyone thought it was, like you shouldn't be doing it. But for me, it was, guys, this is going to get more and more personal.
Yeah, you're also like directly affected more than other people. I am.
And at the beginning, I'm not a restaurant. So when I was speaking at the beginning, again, with, I would like to think from the heart with good intention, it was for the restaurants. Yeah. It was for them. Yeah. There has been restaurants who are on the other side, who are pro passport, for example, who now unfollowed me. And my intention was at the beginning to speak up for them. Like, guys, our restaurants can't do this. And don't get me wrong, at the beginning of this, I'm sure there's some people that remember the first 2 weeks, I was like, guys, it's just 2 weeks. Like, I was scared too.
Yeah, I think everybody was, to be honest.
Like, no one, you don't see it now because I'm over the whole, I mean, we've gotten crazy. So now I'm there, you know, but at the beginning I was scared. I was like, guys, it's just 2 weeks. You know what I mean? But it there was an evolution of an opinion that
Sorry, he's fucking alcoholic. He's just
finished
pouring
the
the
whole
rest of the wine.
Sorry.
One glass.
Yeah, I know, I feel
four
so
for her.
Yeah, every
him.
time I poured my glass, I looked at hers and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
I'm good.
Drink faster, please. Come on.
No, I'm good.
Start chugging.
But
yeah,
anyways,
no, yeah.
it was just an evolution of things, you know, and the intention was never to hurt anybody. And I know that, like I said before, people that are not there following the journey the whole time and seeing what you're speaking about in the lives that I did, for example, with the police officer and seeing his point of view, like you don't get all of that when you pop in one day, someone sends you my story and you're talking about, I don't know, whatever I was talking about that enraged them, you know. People's perspectives was, you know, how dare you say that lockdowns are dangerous, people are dying. And my answer was, yeah, guys, people are dying. Yeah. People are committing suicide. The police officer that I had done the live with said that he's jammed that night, and he still is. He just went back to work, and that's all he sees. You know, we can't overlook this. This is people that, you know, maybe nobody close to us, but when you have this many people, you know, making attempts, it's not.
We might actually have a cop on the show soon. We're trying to
I'm
work out like
drill him with so many questions.
We're trying to work out like the dates and stuff. But to that point specifically, I think people tend to underestimate, man, the jobs that cops have to do.
Everything's backwards.
I think that's like a direct growth of what we're talking about before in terms of like social media and the way people's opinions take on larger value than they normally would, you know. But yeah, like so the decision making process behind it was just good intentions. I
wanted it to come from the heart, and unfortunately it's not always received that way, and I had to deal.
Do you regret saying all that stuff on your business?
No, because I don't think, and people will disagree with this, but I don't think, again, if it's coming from the heart, it's not malicious. I didn't want to discredit anybody. I shared a lot of stuff, definitely, because I was seeing it and therefore I was sharing it. I also learned to research. People are going to be like, you know, research shit, you're an anti, whatever the word of the day is. But I would really, like, before sharing something, I learned, like, okay, let me go and see where this comes from. Is it a credible source? Is it just a meme? I tried to, like, inject some humor. Do I regret it? No. Do I think that, look, it has become a safe space for certain people. I'm not in any way like patting. It's the truth. I get messages constantly, and I'm not just talking from, it's been months since I've received a threatening message or a negative message. It's always paragraphs of people saying, like, I feel less crazy, and you made me realize certain things, because that was the goal. It was like, just guys, it can't be that we're not seeing certain things, you know. And they want to call it conspiracy, but I don't understand conspiracy, like the whole deep.
Well, we were talking about this before. I think that the term conspiracy tends to have more of a negative connotation than anything else. Yeah. And look, I'm not saying for totally unjustifiable reasons. You know, if you're gonna come up to me and be like,
baby's blood.
But
it's because.
But again, like, look, maybe.
You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna say it's wrong. I mean, look, at the end of the day, I think it's just like, look, you're entitled to your opinions. If your opinions are more far out there than mine are.
Yeah.
Look, you're entitled to have them. I may not agree with you, but it doesn't mean that I'm a horrible person and that you're a horrible person.
Right?
I think that we should all be able to get along, you know, and no, but in all honesty,
I know, you're right, I know.
No, but it's true. It's become so personal.
It's kind of like what you say. You just either skip the stories.
That's it.
Just sometimes I don't want to hear it. To be honest, sometimes I just don't want to hear it. Skip, and then it's there.
So this is the thing. I think that maybe it not maybe, but it did rub people the wrong way for sure. And other people, they're just so over what's happening in the world that they're like, this girl, like, I don't want to hear it anymore, you know? But
that's me for everything. Anything COVID related.
For
not
sure.
You personally. Just anything about coronavirus. I'm so fucking fed up.
You're like, let's move on. Like, it's done. For sure.
You know, it sucks. Definitely. Like, we're getting, you know, the vaccine passport. New things are coming out. Things to talk about. So we can't go to a restaurant now. Things suck. But it's like, even this podcast, and now it's different because we're talking about it now. But this is the time for me where I put my phone away and I have to fucking talk about this shit. And you don't think about.
So that's why I got off of Instagram. I definitely need.
This is what I was gonna ask. Is one, do you think that? And I'm genuinely asking the question. Do you think that everybody who, let's say somebody agrees with your position on whatever topic, it could be COVID, it could be anything. Do you think that everybody who agrees with that should be outspoken and should be using whatever platform they can to be speaking about it? Or do you think that people should like
just have conscious conversations?
Or just like, look, if someone agrees with you, let's say on whatever topic, or agrees with me on whatever topic, and they just don't feel like they have the energy or the,
I understand that.
you know what I mean? Like the power in them to do something about it or speak out about it. Do you think that everybody should, or can, like, I think personally it's okay for people to be like, look, I'm stepping back and I just really can't do this. And
it's a very personal thing. I'm not, who the hell am I to say?
I don't think it really matters. If you want to like talk about it, you can talk about it. If you want to take a break, take a break. I don't think actually anybody like really, not that anybody cares, but like no one's going to criticize you for taking a break from Instagram and say, listen, this is what I want to do.
But I think you're saying more generally, like from the get-go, that they just don't want to.
Like people who actively stay away from, like, look, I'll be honest with you, whatever view I hold on anything, whether it be COVID or whether it be, you know, I'm not here to talk about those aspects of it, but any view that I hold on anything, I just don't feel like I have the power or the energy to put it into speaking out about it on Instagram or anything.
Yeah, you're not called to it, and that's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
my question.
I feel like I was called to talking about it and called to you know, making it a conversation that I choose. I could be talking about just about anything that everyone's talking about today, X, Y, and Z that's on, you know, Instagram and whatever. This is what I chose to talk about. Yeah. And again, if it comes from a good space, well, I mean, you know, it doesn't mean that for you
it's going to be palatable.
Yeah, for some people it's you know, for me this is how I expressed it, and there was probably a point where I became consumed, where it gave me like, it, you know, it was all I would see and think about, and that's when I'm like, oh my god, like this is crazy. But we all, I think everyone at some point went through, even in your alone. It's up and down.
Even myself, sometimes I'll be more into whatever topic is the hot topic of the day, politically speaking, and other days I'll be just like, I really cannot take the time to deal with this. And that was going to be my next question, is like, how did you deal with, and I imagine there was backlash, like how did you deal with the backlash, or how did you deal with the people who would come after you afterwards? Did it discourage you? Did it motivate you to continue?
Some of them hurt me for sure, because I didn't want to hurt people. That wasn't the goal. It wasn't like, I'm going to post this and I want people to get mad. It was, I'm going to post this because, guys, something fucked up is happening. Like, I need to talk about it. Can you see what's happening? Like, am I crazy? And then I would find people that aren't crazy. And then the people that would give me that backlash, it would hurt. Like, I've had people message me like, I have friends that are nurses and you're killing people. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, I kiss my celery before throwing it out. I'm killing people? Me? You don't want to, no, but I feel bad. I feel bad that I'm, you know, it's not to, it's just, it hurt me for sure. Some messages hurt me because it plays on your
pride,
but pride. Yeah. But maybe your sense of self. Yeah. In a sense, does that make sense? When you think of yourself as, I always want to do things with like dignity and I want to do things with love in my heart, no matter what, as much as I can. I'm human. I have fucked up. Okay. I have not always been, I've had my days where I have not been a good person. It happens. Of course. I'm not trying to say, but I try to do things in a certain way. So when I got messages in that way, I mean, obviously ça m'a touché un peu, you know?
I get it though, because you're trying to, like you said, it's all with the intention. Like you're trying to like, kind of like send or give information that you believe in, right? And just to give it out to people, and then sometimes someone will get mad at you and be like, oh, you're killing them. You're like, fuck, man, it's not, first of all, that's not what I wanted to like portray. It's not what I wanted. That's not who I am. And you start to doubt. It's like, fuck, should I put that? Should I put that? Yeah. Is that what is that the messaging, the message that I'm portraying out there? Yeah. And all these fucking little things go in your head and you start to like doubt, like,
yeah, I mean, we had a protest on Maurice Duplessis and Armand Bombardier. We did like a 2-day.
A long time ago, right?
Like, I think April.
Yeah, okay.
May or something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, there was maybe 1 or 2 cars that actually didn't honk, but every car that passed by honked, and the whole
that protest was for what, the lockdown,
it was
right?
lockdowns. It was it was lockdowns for sure. That was the main
curfews, right?
Curfew, exactly. The main thing was lockdown curfew because people were, you know.
Yeah, passports didn't exist back then.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't. It was just a conspiracy theory. You know, you're fucking crazy to be talking about that. How dare you? Okay. But
then when you were crazy, you were talking about the passports. Nah, it's not gonna happen in Quebec. You crazy?
Yeah, that's where you get the most backlash when you talk about things that haven't happened yet. You know, but we would go to the cars and we would ask like, "How are you?" And everyone's reaction immediately was, "I'm good." They'd be like, "No, really, how are you?" And you should see their faces change. Yeah, they would just like go within and just be like, honestly, I'm not okay. I don't think there was one person that said, really, I'm fine. No, they were like, I'm not okay.
Yeah, I think everybody's dealing with something in the last 18 months. You know, I think people who kind of just gloss over. I don't think a lot of people do, but I think there are people who gloss over the idea that or the fact that people have been dealing with either anxieties, stress.
Yeah, but I think it's important to focus on the positive too that happened. You know, a lot of good things that happened. Not for everybody. You know, look at us, man. If it wasn't for COVID, this podcast wouldn't be here right now.
As long
there
as we
is some
just
positive.
give a nod and don't dismiss that this is happening. You know what I mean? So anyways, I'm saying this to say backlash and all of that. Yeah. So worth it, because that day I felt less alone. I had 64 people with me. Cars were honking back and forth, and I have complete strangers that bump into me wherever. I don't know who they are, and they're like, are you the one that had the protest on? And it just makes me feel like, okay,
I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy, and you felt less alone. That was the goal, that you feel less alone. So backlash, worth it, whatever.
So that being said, do you think that, is there anything in particular, and maybe there isn't, it doesn't matter, but is there anything that you feel like you would have done differently from the get-go?
With how I'm feeling this past week, probably separated the account so that I can like put aside some messages sometimes, because I get dark messages, and I it's a lot to. So
what happened this last week exactly? Because I know it has something to do with like with Instagram and like a form of ban or something. It's a question that I wanted to ask following this one actually.
Yeah.
Like banned.
I think I got banned. I don't know, from, I don't know how many views to like 97.
This is the question I was going to ask, is because I know
my stuff isn't getting shown. So
yeah, there was like the shadow ban idea, which I know is a prevalent thing on social media platforms like Twitter, Instagram, and stuff, because a lot of these big tech companies tend to lean to a certain perspective. Yeah, and look, rightly or wrongly, I'm not here to say, but rightly or wrongly, they'll prioritize certain points of view or certain pieces of content on their platforms over others, and go as far as to ban certain pieces if it doesn't coincide with whatever they believe, and so I had seen, anyway, all that to say, I had seen that there was like a sort of shadow ban, but I wanted to ask, like, how do you come to the conclusion that is something that's happening? Because I've never experienced it, so I don't know.
So your views go down. You may or may not know that somebody in particular like reported your account or something, which is what I think happened. Maybe not, I don't know, but censorship is pretty, it's happening, you know what I mean? So it's just that I think also if you use the code words, keywords, they pick up how many times you use those keywords. So
you went from like 1,000 views to like 90? Like
1,008 to 97.
Was it like a gradual thing, or is it one day it just completely? One day went from 1,008 to like 97.
Yeah, and so that's the biggest part of me shifting to even doing the website. Everything happened so perfectly. The week that I broke my foot was the week where I was like, okay, I'm going to take some time off, because we're talking about having kids, and we're talking about how like who's going to run my business. I don't want to stop doing this, right? So I'm like, who's gonna take over? Oh my god, can I have control issues? I'm like, can I actually trust somebody, right? I'm like, it's when it's your business, it's your baby, so it's hard to think, and then the universe said, well, fuck you, Pris, you're gonna break your foot, and now you're gonna have to not only figure out how to continue working, you're gonna have to trust somebody, but you're also gonna ask for help. Ta-da! Hardest thing to do is ask for help, for me anyways. So, I mean, it started, it was like all this to say, a spiritual journey from that on. But it's when you rely on Instagram for your sales, that's where I was making all my sales. I'm like, okay, send me I tried to make the Instagram as clickable as possible, and here, send an email, and then it just drops down.
Just a little side note, by the way, side note.
So discouraging.
You shouldn't be afraid to ask for help ever.
I learned that.
Yeah, you should never be. For two reasons. One, it's the person that you're asking. If you're asking them, it means you trust them. Yeah. They're gonna be down. You know what I mean? Especially if it's your friend. They actually, when someone asks you for help.
And I have amazing friends too. They would
Yeah, exactly. I like when my friends ask me for something. It means you trust me, and you
but even just around the house, like asking for, I never really had to ask him, but asking Ant to help me. You know what I mean? And having him also offer help. Like, he knew that I couldn't move, you know what I mean? So helping me do laundry, and just having, and I told him exactly this, like, holy shit, having someone help you take off some weight. You know what it's like to live alone.
But this is besides broken foot or not, though. I'm talking about in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is where the spiritual, where it started, right?
Yeah,
where you're
okay,
like,
yeah.
you have to ask for help. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Now you have to live you have to like apply this in your life, in
Yeah,
real life.
yeah, because now you had no choice to ask for help, and you realize,
Yeah.
you know what? It's actually it's not a bad thing at all.
It's not a bad
you
thing.
know?
Yeah.
Is there, just before I get into the questions, I have
Yeah.
one last thing I want to ask. So is there, again, not to get into specifics or details or whatever, because I know that you've gotten backlash and things like that, is there one thing that if you were to put yourself in the shoes of, let's say, the opposing end,
Mm-hmm.
is there one thing, if you had to argue for that side, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
is there one thing that you think has validity or has value in terms of like an argument from someone from people who would oppose whatever it is that you're saying?
I don't know if I do have an answer. You're saying it.
Like,
Is
if you ever
there
posted
something
something
that-
and someone actually commented back, and you're like, oh, you know what? I could be wrong about
Oh,
this
did it
right
ever?
now.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
For sure. What's
that
one
what you're asking?
thing?
Yeah.
I
Okay.
think he's asking what's one thing that
Yeah, like,
that
is
would
th-
do
is-
that, but I don't.
Yeah, like, is there something from someone who opposes your point of view, whatever argument they may have, that you think like, look, like, I agree with you on this part, but whatever, you know?
There was. I can't say what specifically now
Mm.
because I haven't.
Unless you're the
No.
most close-minded person in history of life,
You're always open to-
Yeah.
yeah.
Then that would happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're open-minded. You'll
The thing
take
is
that and you'll.
even on Instagram, it's hard to have these conversations. But yes, there
Yeah.
has been things that someone has brought up that I've been like,
Oh,
okay,
okay.
I didn't see it that
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
you know. But people
This
that
makes
approach you
sense.
with, again, with respect and
Yeah.
with. you
It's
know,
all like tone, and you can tell tone even
you
on
can tell
even
tone.
on text.
Yes,
You can tell.
and I can tell you that with this, a lot of people, and it's mostly women for some reason. It's not. I don't think I ever had like a guy. I don't think, anyways. But that sounded sexist. But I'm allowed, right? Because I'm okay.
Because you're a woman.
You're on beyond the
I'm a
bench. It's okay.
woman.
We're,
I'm
Yeah,
beyond
yeah.
the bench.
we're all about sexism.
But,
Wow.
but
No, we're not. So I promise we're not.
what was I saying?
Girls usually are the ones that'll message you.
Yeah, it's always with like a very condescending,
Yeah. yeah.
you know,
Tone.
tone.
It's all about your wording
So-
and your tone. Even face-to-face messaging.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all about that.
Yeah.
It's how you approach it.
But then
for
again,
sure.
I'm sure I've said things that came off that way. You have moments. Listen, I'm not.
Hey, I'm sure you had days where you were pissed off.
Yeah,
you were
man.
feeling like whatever, and but you posted
Yeah.
that with anger, with whatever.
Yeah.
and
So what prompted me to delete Instagram was I've never ever, and I actually had a friend of mine that was like, I don't remember what we were talking about. She's like, she's like, and she agrees with me, has different opinions, but agrees with me on certain things, like how the government's handling it. And she's like, she's like, maybe people, don't like to use the word sheep. And I'm like, wow, I've never used the word sheep. I have openly said that I think that word, if you want to use it, it's fine. But I think that word is horrible.
In general in life, not only with this, I think that like both extremes tend to have their downfalls. Would
Yeah.
you agree that in this particular conversation, people who are on, let's say, the side of against the government on the extreme call
Yeah.
the other side sheep, and the people who are on the extreme of the side of the government, let's say, call the other people conspiracy theorists? Like, those are the two kind
Yeah.
of
It's
like,
either you're a conspiracy theorist
or a
Or
sheep.
you're a
sheep.
sheep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
it's somewhere.
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
There's
everything's
no in
always
between.
somewhere in the middle, So
There's no in between.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, whatever. Yeah.
There is a
It's
between,
definitely-
but I mean, there's no in between for these people.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the,
yeah,
bet-
yeah.
the between would be being able to have an open conversation and a debate and presenting, factual information to each other and still being friends after, So,
I was saying this to you before we started recording, and I still believe it. Honestly, I think like people need to, for whatever topic, whether it be COVID, whether it be anything at all, understand that if I'm talking to a very close friend of mine or someone who, for whatever reason, because of conversations and because of disagreements, became an old friend,
yeah.
people I think need to understand that, like, let's say the whatever you think is the worst case scenario from your point of view ends up happening. At the end of the day, if that doesn't end up happening and the world is coming to an end, who are the people that are going to still be there for you? Your
Yeah.
parents and your closest friends.
Yeah.
So is it really worth
Fighting over.
getting
Yeah.
rid of those relationships and ending those relationships if
Yeah.
you know that this person will be there for you no matter the fuck what, even if the fucking world comes to an end?
Yeah.
If the world comes to an end, I'm dying. So what's going to matter is the people
If the
who
world
are still
comes
there
to
for
an
me
end,
as I'm
all
going
that
to
shit
die.
doesn't even fucking matter anymore.
So
Your COVID
Yeah.
means squat.
It doesn't.
If
So
the world is
that's
coming
the
to an
thing.
end.
There's so much ego
You know?
intertwined with all of this
Yeah,
too. Like, I
exactly.
mean,
Yeah.
like getting off of Instagram had to do with, holy shit, I need to go within because
Mhm.
this is getting exhausting. Like, I cannot.
It's draining.
It's draining.
this, perfectly ties into our segment called
Really right. Fuck. Fuck.
Really right
Oh.
fuck. Where we take questions from you, the
Fuck.
beautiful and wonderful and intelligent viewer, and we give you horrible and unintelligent
I
responses.
love my fucking stupid advice. The best.
We have a
Ready.
question that relates exactly to what we're talking about right now.
Okay.
And honestly, I just gotta say, this week I think we have every week we get a question like, "Would you suck your dad's dick for $1 million?"
Yeah.
Like
I'm gonna avoid those
Yeah.
questions. Okay.
this week we've
No,
actually
you can't.
gotten
You're not allowed.
No, I don't.
this week we've actually gotten I think some really interesting and like insightful
Yeah,
questions.
they're a little deeper this time.
And so the first one that I want to get to, it talks about what we're talking about right now. If social media affects your mental health negatively, should you use it? Should you use it for business or should you use it for pleasure?
I'll answer if you don't mind. I
No.
think like yes, obviously. I think it affects everybody in a negative way. There's no way in hell that this doesn't affect everybody.
Do you think there's any positives to it?
Yeah, there's positives.
Mhm.
I don't know what, but there definitely is. The negatives are
Connection.
connections,
connection.
socializing, sharing your pictures with your family, and do that whole fucking thing. But besides that, I don't think there is. It's a lot of comparing.
Yeah.
I find a lot of comparing.
100%.
A lot of. I feel like people are literally having kids to post it on Instagram.
Yeah.
People are literally getting married
Man.
and giving birth to a fucking human being to put it on
Yeah.
Instagram for comments. I
Don't
am
get me started with
convinced.
that.
I'm convinced.
Yeah.
Because Kylie Jenner had a kid.
Yeah. Kylie Jenner had a kid. Every single girl under the age of 24 or whatever plus ish in that area has kids now.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that's how much it affects it.
It's crazy.
So to answer your question, I think it's really, really bad. Should you stop using it? Yes. Do people stop using it? No.
Do you think there's a
Okay.
happy medium?
I think business is good on Instagram.
Yeah,
it's
like
a
one-
lot of fucking like
Business is fantastic
yeah.
on Instagram. It's a free marketing
yeah,
tool.
you literally
really.
reach so many fucking people. But as
Yeah.
long as you use it, if you're feeling hurt or whatever about, if you're using it strictly for business, for example,
Yeah.
I don't think there's
To
anything
keep-
wrong with that.
Mhm.
You post your stuff. Here's my things, clients, and
Yeah.
that's it. You don't go look at other fucking videos.
Yeah.
you
For
have.
other people who use it for personal stuff,
Yeah.
it's definitely that. It's keeping up with the Joneses. You know, it's like
Yeah.
posting.
Should
And I've
be a
always
show.
said this: posting self. I think it is a show
Movie,
or a
right?
movie, an
yeah.
old movie. Yeah. But posting pictures, and I always said this to my friends, and they were like, "No, we post selfies because we like it and because it's for us." And I'm like, "No, guys, you're posting selfies." I always sound like a wet towel, but it's the truth. Like, you're posting selfies because you want likes.
Yeah.
And in a world where Instagram only had women, would you be posting these same selfies? I beg to
Yeah.
differ.
I think it's the same with guys too, to be honest with you. I wouldn't be posting some of the pictures I posted, some of the stories I post.
For sure not.
If
Either
either I
we
was
fish, man. We go fishing sometimes.
There's
That's
thirst
fine.
traps. Yeah.
If I was in a
You can go fish.
relationship or if there was no girls on Instagram, I wouldn't post
wouldn't-
half the shit. I
There's
think.
definitely
Right?
like a correlation between having a girlfriend and not, and the amount that you post.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
definitely.
Or being single.
Definitely.
I'll be honest with you. I'll tell you right now, and I'm not even ashamed to say it. If I had a girlfriend, I wouldn't even have Instagram.
Yeah.
Who
I would
needs
delete
Instagram when you're in a relationship?
Who needs
Besides your
Instagram?
business, you don't need it.
I've had
Yeah.
it in the past, and I've learned that it just leads to stupidity.
Stupid. Not good.
It's
Not.
just nonsense.
yeah.
It's arguments for no reason on my end and on their end. You know what I mean? So it's like,
Yeah.
if I had a girlfriend, anybody who's in the dating market out
He'll
there,
delete his Instagram.
I'll delete
for
my
you.
Instagram for you. I promise. For you.
Yeah.
It's just toxic, I find, man. It's
My
just
boyfriend
too
doesn't
much.
have Instagram, and it's very nice.
Yeah, you feel like it's a blessing.
Yeah, definitely, because it's not, you don't constantly feel like he's been on and off it, like I was telling you earlier, but it's not like a profile, you know what I mean? I don't know how I would feel if I would see selfies being posted every day. It's like,
Yeah, because
what's
there's,
up,
you know what it
man?
is there's a mindset behind the posting
There
of that
is,
selfie.
yes.
Whether people want to admit it or not, there's a thinking and there's a rationale behind the posting of that
Yeah.
selfie.
Which is what?
Attention.
Attention.
As much as we want to, it's just like, no, I do it for me because I why do you do it? Take the picture, go to Jean Coutu, 69 cents, print it out, and put it on your wall.
Yeah.
But what's that word? Not.
I actually think they're 69 cents. I
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
just saying.
no, I know. I'm just fucking around.
I went a couple
It's
weeks
for
ago.
attention, but what's that word?
Thirst trapping.
Gratification.
Both.
What did you say?
Thirst trapping.
Yeah.
Thirst trapping,
Validation.
Validation.
A lot of
Validation, yeah.
validation.
Yeah.
I don't know why we all feel like we have to get fucking validated.
Well,
I don't
because
know why.
our leaders are the Kardashians. I'm sure they're wonderful human beings, but have you seen what they've done to themselves? That's not organic.
Look, I mean, I could be wrong on this, but I
Business
think a
geniuses,
lot
though,
of
but
what
besides
you
the point.
see in terms of like fads that I'll pick on women here specifically, but I think a lot of what you've seen in terms of fads that women have subjected themselves to or put
Yeah.
themselves through in the last couple of years has to do with what the Kardashians have done. Big
Yeah.
asses, big lips, and nose jobs.
They
things like that.
literally,
And it's nothing.
fucking, they
I don't
literally
think
changed the world. These girls.
I
No,
don't-
you-
They did.
They
yeah.
did, man.
I don't
They're-
think there's anything wrong with them
Yeah.
doing it, but I do. Like there are unintended consequences to everything you do, and so there are people who
Yeah.
are in
Impressionable.
Impressionable. There we go. See,
See, you fucked up. You see?
Chris helping me out tonight.
There you go.
People who are
Men.
impressionable, and it's not their responsibility, I don't think.
It's not, but they're still feeding off it. But if
Yeah.
you look at it from a business like standpoint, like it's genius. These people are geniuses.
It's genius, but we
So-
have little girls watching this and thinking
That's not good.
little girls growing up looking
Yeah.
at their moms, and
Yeah.
again, it's fine if you
Yeah.
wanna do all these things. It's not my style, but it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that it's not right. It's just your daughter's looking at you, and she's gonna look at you and think like, oh, maybe I have to do that. And a mother looking at her daughter is thinking you're the most perfect thing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And we're just passing on these self-esteem issues that are.
Yeah. But it's
You
not
know.
really their fault. Like they're just being who they are. I'm sure they like that. It's not their fault that they have millions of fucking followers.
Mm.
Like it happened that way, you know?
There's a lot of pressure being who they are.
Yeah,
and
for
they,
sure.
they had to. I mean, listen, when you have to mutilate certain parts of your body, and I use the word mutilate because that's exactly what it is, whether you're injecting or cutting or whatever, to be more liked or to be more, it is in the eye, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's in the eye of what men like today. If
Yeah.
you know what I mean, like
Yeah.
big butt, big tits, big lips, big whatever, it's where did natural go? You know, where did we?
Yeah. I mean, I think that there is an element of it that has to do with their own self-esteem, where that self-esteem is rooted in. Maybe it's rooted in what men think of them at the end of the day. I don't know. It's hard to say because, like, I had a big problem with acne when I was growing up.
Yeah.
And the biggest issue that I had with my acne was that girls didn't want to talk to me. And so was
And it
my
hit you
issue,
some-
yeah.
it's
So it's
still-
like, was my issue with my acne really about my self-esteem, about myself with my acne, or was it rooted in what girls would think about me? And so the inverse of that is, like, are they
Yeah.
changing their asses and their lips because of men, or is it because they really want to change it themselves? I don't know. I wouldn't be able to say.
A bit of both. It's like
Yeah.
it's like guys for the gym, you know, like if guys get ripped, it's not even because they want to fucking be healthy, because they just want to be jacked for girls that like them.
Yeah,
you
and
know.
then it's just guys DMing you.
Yeah.
Like, nice steps, bro.
Oh, nice chest, bro.
Nice
How much
chest,
do you
bro.
bench? And it's like, man, it is for girls. I don't really
Yeah.
care about what you
Then
think.
I think there's another aspect to that too, because if you're going to the gym and you're eating well and you're fixing yourself in a sain, how do you say that, like in a
Healthy.
healthy way, whereas when you're like, you know what I mean, guys, okay, they're going to the gym but they're working on their muscles and
They're being
it's-
healthy, but is that really like their goal? They're being healthy because they kind of have no choice if you want to get that body, but is that actually their mission?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Is it
You
because you
know?
want to be healthy, or is it because you want girls to look at you as like the muscly guy,
Yeah, but you can also squat and not go get implants in your ass.
Yeah,
On
but
your
tits, you
ass.
can't work
Yeah.
out your tits. So you
Well, look, the
No,
perfect
you
the,
can't,
the
but I mean-
perfect example is like there's such a thing as calf implants, and God knows if I can afford it.
That I'm getting. That I'm getting though. Like, don't judge me. I'm gonna get bigger
I
calves.
mean, listen,
Stop.
even
Stop it.
you would get it or you wouldn't?
I would.
I
You
would.
would.
Yeah, I would. Fuck
A
that.
quick injection in the calf.
I've
just to
never
say.
heard of calf
Quick
injections.
calf,
That's
you know,
interesting.
just a quick fucking calf.
At the end of the day, it's whatever feels right for you. If it's
Mhm.
We spoke about this last time. I don't think there's anything wrong about fixing your insecurities, as long as it's like kind of like
Yeah.
you don't go
within reason.
Yeah.
within reason.
So
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah.
look, at the end of the day, Instagram, social media, negative. I think for the most part, I think you're all in agreement with that.
Yeah.
It's easier said than done to completely jump off it.
Yeah, that's
and
kind of
if you are able to, then good.
For me, just because of business.
Yeah.
Because I woke up for the first time yesterday
Mm.
and had no messages. And
It's liberating.
It's liberating.
Yeah.
I feel I maybe had a little bit too much responsibility on my shoulders having
Mhm.
it open. So
It's
it's
good
like,
to clear your mind. It's
It
definitely good to
is.
clear. And I commend you, honestly. Like, it's difficult. I would have a hard time just getting off completely.
Yeah.
And
I
have
thought I
no-
would. I really
Yeah.
thought I would.
I did it for 3 months
did.
and it felt amazing, but I went right back on it.
I'll
Don't
be
ask me
hon- I'll
why,
be-
and I haven't quit since.
Look,
How many hours do you waste scrolling?
On Instagram per day, way too much.
yeah,
on.
too many.
Way too much.
Too many hours.
I'm at
It's
work, so
crazy.
less because I'm on the phone a lot during work, so I don't really have time.
Yeah.
But at night, sometimes I'll catch myself like fucking watching an amazing show. I'm in
And you're still
peak of like the action right now. I just grab my phone. I'm on Instagram. I'm like, what am I doing? It's a
Mindless.
mental show.
it's mindless scrolling.
Yeah.
And what
Sometimes
are
I'll
you
just be
doing?
like, why? I'm not even paying attention to what I'm watching.
I know.
Yeah, and you're feeding
I'll have
your
to rewind it
subconscious.
and shit sometimes. It's
You're
like,
feeding your subconscious
Yeah.
so much crap because you're like TikTok dance.
what's that thing like with answer questions? Or?
It's-
We spoke about TikTok last time.
That's-
anyways.
I mean,
Next question is really right. Fuck. This is for
Really fuck right.
really fucking right.
That's the best. That's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
thanks.
This is for Pris specifically. When will you be making gluten-free food so I can eat those arancinis? And is the famous olive oil cake still a thing?
The olive oil cake is going to be maybe on the menu this week,
Nice.
next week.
Why maybe?
because
Just to make it.
make it.
Just come out of thin air.
I have to think about it.
Spawn a cake.
Gluten-free arancinis. I'll do a day soon where I'm gonna make gluten-free arancinis. I want no responsibility of how they taste.
Yeah, it's for the weak, gluten-free. It's for the weak. Eat gluten.
I've been
it's
Really
good.
alienate our fans there, Jesus.
I've been asked
I'm
so
just
many
kidding.
times.
I'm just kidding.
Vegan too. When are you making vegan arancinis? And
Never.
I just wanna crawl into a ball and like I'm like,
You could though, just don't put meat in it.
yeah, but cheese.
Ah, it's true.
Do you know how
it's
much
vegan, it's
cheese-
true.
Is the
Yeah,
I
no, there's no,
dump
no.
Like handfuls of cheese
Yeah.
in the rice, so I can't. I mean, I can,
There's
but
vegan cheese, but it'll ruin the taste. It'll ruin the like.
yeah, and
vibe,
I
you
don't.
know?
And honestly, I don't want to make a whole batch and have to eat a whole batch of vegan arancinis just to be able to sell them. That's my problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can try it out one day though.
So olive oil cake is going to be a thing potentially this coming week,
Potentially this coming
Alright.
week. Yeah.
and gluten-free food maybe in the future. No,
She loves the
Maybe.
maybes.
unequivocal no.
She loves the maybes. This one.
Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
Maybe,
Let's
maybe.
let's
Alright.
stick to maybe.
What's more likely, olive oil cake or gluten-free?
Gluten free, you could probably get it on the Monday meal preps. So I'll mark it for next week.
Okay,
I'll mark
nice.
gluten free.
She'll be very happy.
I hope you see my stories because they're not being shown. So come find me.
Yeah, we'll post you on this one over here. Last question just before we go, because we're at a fucking 2-hour mark right now.
Means that?
Yeah.
This is good. It's one of the longest in a while.
Nice.
Yes. Very
Um,
nice.
Very proud.
It asks for 3. For the sake of time, I'm going to ask you 1 each.
Mhm.
Tell me about this. I love this fucking question. This is a really good question. It's not something we ever really get. Tell me about an influential person. It says 3 most influential people in your life, but tell me about an influential person in your life and how they've impacted you. So 3, I guess, 1 each.
Okay. Who wants to go first?
Off the top of my head, without being cliche and stuff, obviously those guys, like, I think, to be honest with you, Joe Rogan is somebody who's impacted me in terms of just the way I think and the way I approach conversations. But I'm
Can
not
I
going to
say
say
the same thing?
no, but I'm not going to say Joe Rogan. One
Okay.
person who's impacted me in my life, honestly, is one of my high school teachers, and I think you know her, Miss Clarabutt
Yeah.
from Pearson. My grandfather passed away when I was in Sec 2, and it was the first death that I had in the family, and it was the first time I ever had to deal with, like, mortality, you know? And I was dealing with it in my own way and coping with it in my own way, and she went out of her way to have conversations with me and try to, like, make me understand that this is something that is normal in life and try to get me to be okay with it and you know, get past it. Obviously, my parents did too, and people who I love close to me did too. But for somebody who doesn't really have that connection to you, like a teacher,
Yeah.
to really take the time out of her day after school, during lunch, and have conversations
That's a
with
good
me.
fucking person right there.
Yeah.
That is one
Teachers
teacher.
are
Yeah.
blessings.
Yeah.
That is one teacher I will never forget. And to this day, every day I tell myself I got to message her because it's a while I haven't spoken to her. And she's not watching this podcast. I can tell you that right now. But if she is, like,
I love you.
I appreciate so much, man, the time that she put into helping me in that situation and just, like, giving me
Yeah.
counsel, you know. And if ever I would see her in the street, man, I'd just give her a big hug and say, like, you are one of the reasons why I am the way I am today, you know?
Yeah.
You can find it on Facebook.
Yeah, I definitely have
I
her on
feel
Facebook.
you had a lot more time to prepare for that question, Josh.
Yeah, I know. I wanted it to be a
It's one of those that I did not prepare for. Like I said before, I'm gonna come here and wing it.
Who's you?
But mine's like super like cheesy, but it's the truth, and it's my mom, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
My mom, guaranteed. My mom is single-handedly the fucking best human being in the
Mm.
whole world. Yeah. So for obvious reasons, I mean, she fucking raised 2 kids by herself.
Yeah.
She did literally everything.
The strength that takes.
Yeah, it's crazy. She lost both her parents super young too. At the same time, while raising kids, twins. At the same time,
On
2
top
of them.
of it.
You know, fucking
One
my
of those
mom.
being you, like, Jesus.
Yeah, like Jesus Christ, my poor mother. Plus, you know, my mom was always the type of girl, like, she would work every single day, 8 in the morning, 6 at night. We're the last ones at daycare every single night, picking us up, bring me to soccer, go home, sister to soccer, pick me up, hockey, this. Like, it was just fucking nonstop. Vacations. I mean, a lot of parents do this for their kids, obviously.
Yeah, but we don't commend them enough
Mhm.
But
for what
it's-
they do it,
yeah,
you know.
It's
Yeah.
no, by far, man.
Thank you, Lena.
Yeah, thanks, man. I love you.
Thanks, Lena.
Love
We
you.
love you.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that comes to mind?
It's hard. It's a hard
It's
question. It's a hard
hard.
question.
It's so hard because there's not, like, when I'm thinking of it in a sense of, I don't know, maybe life, it's definitely Linda and Bobby. I think they, as teachers,
Yeah.
holy shit, I feel like they shook us.
Yeah, they did.
They shook us.
Everyone that I speak to about that course, including Giacomo and including Skinny,
Life-changing, for sure.
Like, fuck, man. Sometimes they were fucking assholes. Like Bobby, sometimes was a pure.
Those were the
asshole.
teachers, right?
Yeah.
But like this
Yeah.
guy, man, he woke everybody up. If I wasn't for him, I don't think I would be in school. You might not even be doing this. You
No,
never know. I know
no,
Giacomo and those guys would not be in school. Like they literally taught us like this is the real world, and if you don't fucking wake up, like you're pretty much screwed.
And again, you come out of high school, you're like
Yeah.
this fresh little piece of meat,
Yeah.
and you're just like, here, go find your
Yeah.
way. And
Yeah.
we found our way to a class that was like you said, they woke you up. They like shook you and said like, okay, this is what's really happening, you know?
They would
Like-
put you on the spot in front of the whole class.
Yeah.
Embarrass you.
I love that.
Yeah. They made us do an
I'm all
exercise.
about embarrassing people.
Yeah.
What was that? What was it?
You had to draw each other as animals. Do you remember that one?
Yeah.
That it's something so small, but it for me was like expanded my mind
that.
to like
It's a good thought exercise.
how you see people and how they see you.
Yeah.
You know, I don't remember what the person drew of me, but I just remember thinking like, no matter who you think you are,
Yeah.
someone is seeing you from their perspective.
I was literally talking about this the other day with Leo in Vancouver. I'm like, the person that you think you are
Yeah.
is not always portrayed.
No,
You could think you are,
Absolutely
like,
not.
for example, top of my head, the most generous human being in the world.
but you're a piece of shit.
but
to
you're
somebody.
just a piece of shit, you know,
Yeah.
or you're not. Or you could think, oh, I have a great moral compass, or I think this way and it's the best.
Yeah.
And the person that you're either your tone or how you speak is like not at all, you know,
Yeah.
at all. So I think yeah, that's actually really good. It's really good.
That was one for sure.
Yeah.
Besides
So-
that,
But
I can't really
they were great. That's a good answer.
fantastic teachers.
they were
So
There's a-
teachers.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, there's probably a few others, but I mean that's the
I'm
one
sure
that
your
comes
grandmother.
to
I'm sure your
mind.
grandmother too, in terms
My
of this
grandmother-
influencing
Yeah,
for
for
business
sure.
and all that
Yeah,
stuff.
for
you know?
my business. I mean,
Yeah.
my grandfather for sure. I think he's probably like, if I think of somebody in the family, probably might not know. He was like my grandmother used to call him un serpente velenoso. That he would be super quiet and he would just kind of like, but then he would like pinch you under the table
Yeah.
type thing, you know. But
A
that's
venomous snake.
a venomous
Yeah.
snake. So it was her perspective of him, you know, but really he was just this, he's I think he's everything that I attracted in Ant as a partner,
That's
you know,
amazing.
like in terms of a good person.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
I don't know. I would say
That's
that.
nice. What a
Probably.
nice conversation we just had. Eh?
Yeah.
Very deep.
Very deep.
And that's it.
I love you,
And that's it. I
That's
could
it?
I could go for another fucking 2 hours on this thing, but I don't
Yeah.
think our batteries on our fucking cameras would. Guys, thank you so
That's
much for tuning into this week's episode of Beyond the Bench. Thank you for bearing with us during Justin's 2-week absence. He just left the country, didn't tell me a single thing.
I definitely stayed in the country.
I mean, he left the
I
province.
definitely stayed
Definitely
in Canada.
canceled our first meeting,
Yeah,
but I
there you
mean,
go.
whatever.
Left the province, didn't tell me a goddamn thing. Episode 93 or 94, we'll figure it out.
Whichever
when
one of those.
93, episode 93. The podcast about everything and absolutely nothing. If you're watching on YouTube, as I said earlier, fucking subscribe, hit the like,
I mean, what's
fucking hit the notifications. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, give us a 5-star review. We are
give us. I love that. That's my favorite thing.
yeah,
to always
we
say.
are
Give us
actually
please.
we are actually the
We're begging.
Please, for the
we're,
love of
we're
God.
the 60,567th podcast on Apple Podcasts.
Actually,
Yeah,
that's not even that bad.
I guess the other ones suck much more than we do. I don't know. So if you're listening on there, give us a 5-star review. If you're watching on YouTube, hit all the fucking buttons that you need to press. And if you find yourself browsing the web on Google Chrome and or Internet Explorer, there's a website that you can visit.
BeyondTheBench.ca. It's the best in the whole
I
world.
was like, what's he getting at with this? Okay.
Tell your friends. Tell everybody.
I'm going to tell everybody, I promise.
You'll be on there actually. Nice little
Will
guest,
I?
guest
we'll take a
picture.
Perfect.
Little description. Your episode. We got merch. We have videos. We have cool things.
Cool.
Picture of Leo. It's always nice.
Yeah,
You know,
exactly.
It's always nice.
Wait,
Wait, before we go, you want to give any shout outs?
Yeah,
to
that's what I was
anybody?
gonna say.
Oh, okay.
Shout out to Qual Cuisina. I have
Yeah.
an online shop now, so you can go shop with a different weekly menu every week.
Where-
Qualcuisina.ca.
I want to give one shout out,
What
which
do you
I
mean
never
shout
shout
out?
out ever.
I just before you give your shout out,
Yeah.
I want to say something, okay? And this is never a stance that I really take, but I think that I think that your company is awesome, and I think that people
Thanks.
should frequent it. And I just want to tell people, whether you agree or disagree with anything that she says, learn to separate the individual from the content or from the business.
Thanks, Josh.
I may not disagree. I may not agree with things that certain rappers say, but I'll listen to their songs because I like the music. There is a difference between an individual and their perspective and the things that they say or do and their business. And so I think that people need to just kind of make that distinction. She's got a great fucking company, makes amazing food, and that'll be attested to in the goodness of time tonight while I eat those fucking
Yes.
arancinis.
I can't wait. I'm
Come
just
from a
following them.
space of love,
Yeah.
no matter what. Come from a space of love.
So where can they find you? Give us
Well-
all your ats.
At Silanity, that's SILLANITY. Nitti. Qualcosina.ca, so it's Qualcosina.ca. I spell it because everyone gets it wrong. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So follow, send me a message, say hi. I'm friendly. Promise.
Awesome. Justin, you wanted to shout me out? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm gonna shout out my good friend Josh, the fucking loser. No, I actually want to shout out Stitch and Ink for once. Fuck, I never shout them out ever. That's it. We make merchandise. We do screen printing. We do embroidery for all your screen printing and embroidery
Are you
needs.
shouting out your own company right now?
Yeah, I never do this. I've never done this once.
I thought it was a
ever.
friend's company. That's
I'll allow
like
it. I'll allow it.
No,
Stitch
we
and
never
Ink,
do this.
guys.
Stitch and Ink. We actually, I made this. This is actually
They're
Toast's brand coming out soon. S7.
Did you make these?
Those ones, no, that was way before.
Lie.
But yeah, so for all your merch needs, screen printing, embroidery, and just good vibes at Stitch and Ink, stitchandink.ca. And that's it.
And if you want to catch us on the socials, at Beyond the Bench Podcast. Thank you for tuning in this week. We'll be back next week, every Friday, with a new episode. Thanks for bearing with us the last 2 weeks. Hope you enjoy this one. Bye.
Bye.
Yay!